Okay. Stephen, a little more about me. I'm doing a senior delivery manager role in an US-based org, which I'm doing mostly on healthcare-related projects, and it'll be of hybrid project style, which goes with our traditional methodology, with agile methodology, and we talk more on PMP factors. So that's my day in work. And I also had a certification with PMP in the year 2016. And in 2017, I did with my Agile certification. If you see PMI ACP, that talks about Agile factors. And I did it with the Scrum certification. And on technology front, I went with DevOps and Microsoft certification. So
Okay.
this is my certification background. And I did my course with Masters in Computers, Masters in Business, Masters in Psychology. So a little bit on my academics,
Wow.
right? Okay, I spend quite time with reading and helping candidates around me. I've last for 3.5 years. I'm doing the PMP course with the candidates, helping them to understand the project management in depth and helping them to get along what PMI looks out for, Project Management Institute, and take them along the journey of completing the certification above target. So that's my target. Fine. So that's a little about me. I know you come with a background. I just had details about you. We can just look into it and you can give a little heads up. Yeah, Steve. Yeah. You can give a little heads up about you and your little background and your expectations. Of course, I have it in my screen, and it will be good enough to add a little more information if you want to share more.
Well, my background's not nearly as good as yours, but
Okay.
but no, I've got about, I don't know, 10, 15 years in project management side. I've been
Amazing.
self-employed for most of my working years.
Great.
So it's been managing projects for my own company, and
Wow.
I originally got into it in '95. I started an internet company back in '95, sold that off in 2010, and when I got into building, I work in communications now, and we build. My company builds cell sites. We build sites for AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, and T-Mobile.
Wow. All top fortune companies with you.
So
Amazing.
yep. So I got to
Mm-hmm.
be able to talk with these guys, and
Okay.
the PMP certification will help me with that. And I do want to move into a position working for one of the carriers.
Mhm.
And I think the best way to do that is to have my PMP.
That's right. You're right. Yeah, there is a value for this certificate all the time. I understand. Okay. That's great. When you say 15 years, it's really depth into project management. You would have seen every part of project management in real life, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I've had the good projects, and I've had the hellish nightmare projects. Dealt with them all.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. That's true. Yeah, that's a beauty of project, isn't it? You can't say every project will be successful, or you
No,
can't say, yeah,
some of them turn into twisted nightmares. So
I
yeah,
agree. Yeah, I agree. I know, I know. See, there is a stats talks about it. They're saying that hardly 40% of the project gets successful in the world.
yep. I
Rest,
don't doubt that.
nearly 60% gets into trouble. When we say trouble, it could be of costing factor, it could be of scheduling factor, it could be of scope factor. Yeah, it gets into there. I agree. I agree. Great. Amazing. Your
Now we
profile
should.
looks very impressive, Stephen. I like it.
All right, thank you.
Great. I think we have Eric joined with us.
Yes,
Hey, Eric.
yes, finally.
Hey, Eric. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, welcome to Ismart Learning. I hope you could see my screen.
Yes, I can see.
Amazing, amazing. Welcome. And I'm just giving introduction to Stephen. We have Stephen in the call. Stephen, you can meet Eric in the call.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Stephen.
That's great. Amazing. So, by the way, I'm based from Dallas, Irving. So for you, both of you, I'm going to be there helping you to be a PMP coach to take it towards learning and get certified. So that's a very simple, straightforward goal. Is the goal sounds good for you?
Yep, sounds good.
Perfect. Eric, I was just getting introduced to Stephen, and Stephen was giving a little heads up about his background. I will reiterate about my introduction so that you two will get a feel whom you're listening to. That's very important, isn't it? So what I do, I just show the screen which I shared with Stephen again. This is me, Sri. They call it as Sri, SHRI, and I have a few degrees with me. If you see I have masters in computers, masters in business administration, masters in psychology, and I have a couple of certifications. Primarily, I love this certificate, PMP. I did the certificate in 2016 that changed my way of looking project upside down. I literally agree on that. And I did my ACP, that is Agile certification. I know Agile is a buzzword. So I'm going to help you and Stephen explain more about PMP along with Agile. So it's going to be a blend of both. That's the idea behind this course. So that's it. And I have good 17 years of experience handling projects in banking domain, some of related to telecom domain. I have experience with Verizon. I have worked with projects. So I have good amount of experience in project management handling. So let me share some knowledge what I gained through the real experience and some of the books which I referred through and learned for the certification process. Right, that's a little about me. Eric, I have little details about you, so it will be good enough so I can listen from you. So that will be more interesting for me and Stephen. If you give this heads up about you and your interest and your background of project management, that will help a little more to understand.
Yeah, so I mean, right now I mainly do a lot of requirements gathering and feature mapping for the current software company that I work with. So I work directly with a group of about 25 stakeholders who really work on the ground with the majority of the end users. And when they go ahead and find problems in the initial software workflows, or they have any other problems, they'll make other feature requests, and then it's my job at that point to vet those feature requests and gather the necessary requirements, plan out the story points, budget out the features, and then determine how fast it needs to move through the development lifecycle to get into production.
Amazing. Okay, so you have good depth knowledge in handling the stakeholders. Okay, I can sense that.
They run my life at work pretty much.
Okay, I was just chatting with Stephen, telling that Stephen was giving a heads up that hey, the project is not that easy. Sometimes it burns all my energy. So if I just anything on that, I know we agree, right? We being in the field for a decade, we know that every project doesn't go as smooth we think. So sometimes it's a cakewalk, sometimes it makes you mad where I am. Kind of.
Yeah, they like to irritate me, to say the least.
Seriously, they'll eat your brain. Okay, great. But good thing is, see, this is not new to the world. When they say project management, it's happening for so many years. Again, Stephen and Eric, give a guess. How long the project management will be in this world? Just give a guess.
I don't know, 40, 50 years?
50 years, amazing guess, Eric. And Stephen, what's your guess number?
As far as how long project management's been around, I think project management's been around since the time of the Rome, since we started building things.
Right, Stephen, you rocked. You know what? The study says that the project management is there along around 4,500 years. I'm repeating again, 4,500 years. That is when they found Egypt pyramid was constructed in a very systematic way. If you I can show you a video a bit later. There is a video from YouTube which talks about how pyramid was designed, and they made the construction in a very systematic planned approach, and they were able to complete in a 20 years of timeline, and they have a proper record how they made that, and they believe that this is could be one of the best project management which we can backtrack around 4,500 years. Was it amazing? Yeah, looks amazing on that. Yeah, yeah. Let's go a little more. What I will do is I will tell you what all you're going to gain out of this course. That's very important, isn't it? So what we'll do is I will just show you a little more information. Oh, by the way, this is my certificate on PMP, and soon we are going to see Stephen name and Eric name coming over the certificate, something like this. Right. So this is, yeah, within a short time, you're going to see your name here. So that's PMP certificate for you. And what I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you with showing a little bit more. Okay. Have you ever visited the website called pmi.org? That is a PMI website.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's
I
good.
think I've been and browsed through it. Yeah.
Oh, great. So, what was the browsing here? What was happening when you were browsing here?
I was just like just going through the different links, looking what was out there.
Ah, okay. That
Just
sounds
kind of
good.
checking it out.
Okay. So get a feel of what is project management happening here, isn't it?
Yep.
That's good. That's good. You did a good job. So in fact, this is the organization, when you call it as ORG, PMI, that is Project Management Institute. They are in the industry for decades, and they are the smart players in the market who has one of the beautiful certificate called as Project Management Professional Certificate. And this certificate is not as another certificate in the market. It is a certificate that really shows the value of the project manager. I will take you through that. What I'll do is, before I'm taking you further in, is my audio communication is clear for Eric and Stephen?
It's a little bit crackly, but I can still understand you.
Really? You mean there's a break in the voice when I'm speaking?
It's just a little bit of static.
Yeah, there's no break in the audio. It's not 100% crisp and clear, but it's good enough.
Yeah. So, you know,
Okay.
Eric is clear to me. So I don't know
Okay.
if you have just maybe a bad connection or a slow internet connection.
Oh. Okay. If you give me a minute, I will try with a different headset what I have. That could give a little more clarity. Shall we try that?
Yeah, it could be your headset. Yep. Let's try that.
Could be. I'm believing in the Sony. I'm not sure it's throwing some problem. Give me a minute. I'm trying a different headset.
Sounds good.
Shri again here. Is it good?
Oh, that's way better.
Yeah, that is a lot better, a lot better.
Way better.
Okay. So I moved from Sony to HP. Let's believe. Okay. I'm happy. I'm able to hear Stephen and Eric very clearly. So if you have any problem in viewing or hearing me, please let me know. I'll try to correct it as and when it is there. Fine. Okay. I will just give some of the ground things what we're going to do here. This is a bunch of slides here. However, I'm not going to read it line by line to make you boring. I'm going to help you to understand the concepts of project management, which is prevailing in the market, which is understood by the institute called PMI. And our goal on this PMI subject is learn the concepts in depth, and then there will be some digital books shared with you where you're going to read it for a couple of weeks, hardly of, let me say, 2 or max of 3 weeks, and you're going to practice a mock examination and see how you're scoring. and then you go for the real examination. And you're going to come out with a colorful certificate called as PMP Certified. This is the plan. Is the plan looking good?
Plan looks good to me.
Sounds good to me too.
Fantastic. We'll move on. Right. So here it goes. Okay. Okay. I'm just showing an agenda. I'm just put over the agenda for day 1, day 2, 3, and 4. I'm not going to read it line by line. What I'll give an idea is this agenda is put over to have a track for us to follow on for the course. At the same time, the agenda is going to be very flexible based on your convenience. Right. So we'll go on with the course, and in between you feel you need a break and you want a little bit gap, you will take it on. It is not going to be a much push. It is because project management is a little dry subject where sometimes it gets slightly boring. So we'll try to make this course a little interesting where by sharing the examples of each other. I have some examples in my real life, some examples in my project, and some examples are read in the books I'll be sharing. Now, when I'm sharing some examples, Stephen will feel that, hey, you know what? I have faced such scenario in my life. Let me share. And Stephen will share, and Eric will add some more example. So how it's going to be is it's a two-way communication. It's going to be a collective discussion on learning project management. So that is the plan we have here. And when you see the screen here and you see 4 days of program, hope you both are seeing the 4 days of program.
Yep.
Great.
Yes.
And when you see, in a day 1, I will start with a very lightweight subject because it could be after a long time you're sitting for a classroom learning or online learning, isn't it? Eric and Stephen, you have been in the training for a while. You have been attended any latest training of any course, any technology?
Yeah, I mean, I've taken a few of these type of courses.
Okay, then it is good. Yeah, sometimes it gets little much boring to sit for a class for a while. So what I do is I'll take little lightweight in the beginning of the first day, and then slowly we'll get the momentum going higher as and when we get the depth of the knowledge. So we put out here, like we talk about introduction, then little bit about the framework of the project, and we slowly get into the role of the manager and some of the key factors of process groups. And we'll go step by step by step. I'll tell you there are 10 areas to be covered in project management. I will go one by one. Before I go a little deep inside, let me get little understanding from you. Have you read the book of project management before?
I have not. In fact, I ordered it from Amazon and I was just looking for it, and it's currently delivered. I haven't found it yet.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I haven't read it either.
Okay. Okay. There is
Steven's
a
a
book.
step ahead of me. I haven't even ordered it on Amazon yet.
Yeah, it's $32 on Amazon.
All right, good deal.
Okay. So there is a book called PMBOK, if you heard about it.
Yep.
Okay, well, much famous book, isn't it? So now that book is covering all this area of subject. And this book is not pretty new in the market. It is there in the market for a while. When I say for a while, it is for decades, it is there. But with multiple versions coming every 3 to 4 years. For example, this book, I'm just putting up day 4 here. If you see the day 4, we talk about agile factors. Okay, this agile concepts, it's being newly added in PMBOK edition. Now we are at the PMBOK 6th edition. When I say PMBOK, Project Management Body of Knowledge, that's called PMBOK. Now we are in 6th edition. Okay, so for 6 versions of books have come on the market, and only in the 6th edition they brought this concept called agile. However, they're not going deep inside the agile, but giving little high level view of agile. By the way, you are having little idea about what is agile. Have you tried agile before?
Yeah, our development team works in an agile environment.
Ah, great. Then you should be known this word.
Yeah, part of
Wow,
it.
this is a buzzword in the market, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And they use a logo for this tank like this, isn't it? They use a logo.
yeah.
Okay, Stephen, how about you on Agile? You have heard about this sentence or used it in your project?
The only agile I know is when I'm dodging stuff my wife is throwing at me. But I have heard the term Scrum.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Okay.
I have seen the term Scrum. I guess I assumed it was a programming language.
Maybe Eric can help you now. Eric, is it a programming language?
No, I mean, Stephen, the easiest way that I can sum up Scrum is in the context of the company that I work for, is the Scrum's a daily meeting that the entire development team has, and um, the way we split up the releases and the iterations of the software is in 2-week release windows, which they call sprints. And the Scrum meetings every day are used to pinpoint the work that needs to be completed in that sprint. And
Great.
if that work is going to be completed, if it's not, and then if there's any roadblocks or anything that they're running into, so that me as the project manager, I can know, okay, well, we need to cut off X, Y, and Z and move them to the next sprint, or we need to
Great.
push A, B, and C because A, B, and C are preventing X, Y, and Z from being implemented.
Okay.
Right. I appreciate it. That's great. Hey, thanks, Eric. That was a great explanation. To give a quick word for you, Stephen, it is a methodology. It is a methodology which is being now highly appreciated in IT industry to move towards the execution of the project. When you see end of day, PMP stands as a superset, and in this superset, you will have some subsets. And Agile could be fit in as one of the subset under this big umbrella called as PMP, right? So now the IT industry is highly moving towards Agile because the requirements are a little bit volatile in the sense they cannot do in the sense the keep requirement keep changing there. So when the requirement keep changing there, they want to adapt a methodology which can be faster in delivery rather waiting for months to get to see what is output, right? That's how it happens. Okay, what I'll do is I'll take a little more deep so that we'll slowly start learning the concepts. So what I can do, okay, let me see, is there any message for me? Oh, Eric, you put some message for me? Okay, okay, got it. Now, what I do, I'm going to take the next screen, which is going to talk about. I feel let Eric be back. Okay. Now, when you see the screen talks about a stats, a graph is there. And this graph, if you can understand it, you can see x-axis and y-axis. If you see the bottom line, it has a number of years starting from 95 and the stats captures up to 2016. On the left side, on the y-axis, you will see some numbers starting 0 and running to less than a million. Now, what the stats talks about is, it is something like they started in the year 1995, the PMP examination, and it was early days. It's only for us that is in US, and later it was exposed to the world in 98, and the number of people getting certified started going high. If you see here, it started graph starting high. In the year 2012, we had nearly 500,000 people. And in 2016, we have reached nearly 7.5. And in now, it is nearly 1 million people with PMP certified.
right? So what the graph is trying to say here is year by year, the demand is going high, and the demand is based on the need in the market, right? This came from the stats from Oliver Lehman, who is a very famous person in PMP certification circle, who gives a lot of blogs and a lot of information about PMP, right? And this stats gives a hint that there is a day-by-day increase in PMP qualified people, and soon we are going to add two more numbers, that is Eric and Stephen. Let me move to the next one. Okay. You are able to see some graph map here, list of maps.
Yes, we could see it.
Okay, great. So here, this talks about the need for project management role in the year 2020. It means hardly another year. They're looking at the stats, which talks a huge number in different countries. This is to show that there is a high demand for efficient project managers. When I say the word efficient, it is something like this. There are companies who have managers. Unfortunately, they play only the role called as execution. There'll be set of planning which already done, and the part which need to be executed will be given to these managers. And the managers will have only the idea of how to execute it and make it happen, not beyond that. When I say beyond that, you should be able to talk about the scope factor, schedule factor, costing factor, resource handling factor. These all sometimes not treated by the managers. Now what's happening is, when these managers come to the market, they get little hard for them to be an efficient manager. However, a person coming out of a PMI PMP certificate will be a person who can speak project management from any dimension. That is 360-degree view will be there. And the stats talks about those managers who can really take it to the next level. If you literally see here, you will see the huge number coming up, right? If you see Australia, you can see the number what they're expecting out, right? And if you see the number in China, the originating country with a lot of projects coming up, it's going very high. You see UK growing up very high. Now, these are the numbers which talks about they want an efficient managers who can really drive the project towards success. In fact, me and Stephen are talking about nearly 60% of the project suffer these days without proper results. It is because there is no proper direction by a manager to take it in a right way. So now that's a snapshot about talks about that. Let me do a little more deep inside. Now, what's the benefit of gaining PMP training? Stephen, you are aware what are the benefits you can gain out of it from your friend circle or from your colleagues? You would have heard something about PMP. What is the benefit you see there?
For me, I guess I'm looking at it as a gateway into. I've been working with the telephone carriers for 10 years, 12 years, and I'm looking for a gateway to get in and actually work for the carrier, work direct for the carrier.
Amazing,
So,
amazing.
Seeing the PMP
Right.
should get me in that. Hopefully, will get me in that door.
Of course, of course. PMP has such a power which can take you to the next level. Yeah, that's the first point talks about shines in your resume, right? It
Yep.
makes your profile looks very shiny. I know there are a lot of certificates available in the market, out of which I always give respect to PMP because it has its value, right? Now, Eric, from your point of view, what you heard from your friends when you talk about PMP?
Well, I mean, the two things for me is the second piece there. It's the leveraging factor that I can have to,
Great.
ask for more money.
That's
But
great, Eric.
but the other benefit here is I'm in the niche medical software industry, and medical software is just exploding everywhere, from hospital softwares, from private practice softwares, from software for every healthcare vertical you could imagine. It's not going to go away, and they all They all
Yeah.
have the same. They all have the same problem. Every piece of software has the same problem.
True.
They don't.
I
They
agree.
don't
I
know.
agree.
They don't know what the end user wants.
Yeah, true. I got
So,
it. Got it.
so hopefully I can
Absolutely.
translate that and make some more money doing so. You know.
Perfectly. Perfectly. Eric, I like the way you are straight on the point. Man, put me more dollars. That's right. That's great. Yeah, that's right. Both of you touched a very key point. And also, I see the PMI, PMP as a good networking happens. When I talked about the people who cleared nearly 1 million people in the PMP, and also there is a big management circle inside the website which I showed to you, the PMI website, and you try to enhance your circle. There is a big group behind this PMI, PMP, where we join with more number of managers, like-minded, and directors of the company, executives of the company, who look out on a growth pattern for the organization. So you join the hands, which is the next layer of an organization. There are multiple layers in organization. You have a top management leadership level, middle management level, and first level of managers. So by completing PMP, you get connection with the top level leadership level, where your scope gets broader there, and you gain a lot of experience. Yeah, while read the book, this book is so huge in the sense of knowledge, where you get an amount of experience which is good for you to take to the next level. If even if you look at for a new interview process, they definitely expect a person to have a depth knowledge when they present it. And also, PMI has a certain terms which is used in these books, and these terms have been globally accepted and globally followed by the organizations where they have a project management. Now, by reading this book, you too speak the same language. When you go for an interview, when you go for a presentation, when you go for a client discussion, you will use a word which is straight on the line. They do understand it. They will tell that, oh yeah, this is what I want. And you will be speaking the language of what they want. And that increase, basically what? You will get increase with this number, right?
Mhm.
Ideally, the performance level goes high. And end of the day, you feel satisfied. That's very important. Now, careers and growth, I don't need to say anything. When you have all this information, I believe this is going to be a rocket flying high. So that's a message I want to convey. Let me take a little more. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is there is the lessons. There are few lessons. When you call us lessons, it talks about each topic will have a lesson. In this lesson, we will talk about information. When I say information, on PMP, there is something called framework. So we'll give introduction about what is this framework all about. Every certification, if we go deep inside, they will have a framework. And PMI, when I say PMI, the Project Management Institute, and they have this PMP, they have fantastic framework framed. Let's see what this framework all about. And this framework comes from the book called PMBOK. When PMBOK means it is Project Management Book of Body of Knowledge, and it goes on the 6th edition. We are in the 6th edition. Even before going there, I would like to give a just hint about what is the background of PMP certification. So the PMP certification is something which goes in like you have to learn the classroom training or online training, and you have to prepare yourself for 200 questions examination, and you have to give a certificate for that. Now, I will just show you over the website what is expected from the PMI perspective, so that it will help you to get a little more clarity. Okay, as you have browsed this website already, I will not kill all the lines. I'll directly go to the message. In fact, I want to tell you, look at here, they're saying 20% difference in the salary or higher than the average of the person paid when they got PMP qualified. This is in the website. This is the stats taken by PMI Institute. I'll go a little down. I'm going to give some basic information of PMP certification. By the way, are you aware that we need to pay an exam fee and then choose an exam date for us?
Yeah, that's what
Stephen,
we
Eric,
go.
or
Yep, I knew
you are
that.
aware of it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah, I
great.
knew that as well.
That's great. Great. Amazing. Amazing. So I just show you the fee structure just for a hint. That's it. I believe you know that already. Just going to give a hint for you. So there is something called membership where you become a member of the PMI Institute. By becoming a member, you gain a lot of webinars, lot of articles where you can read. If a non-member, yeah, you can visit the website, but you won't have a lot of features of listening to webinars. So when you become a member of paying some $120, you can pay exam fee of $105 and get to the examination. However, for getting to the examination, there are some prerequisites. What are the prerequisites? It is something like if you have a secondary degree or a diploma with you, you should show 7,500 hours of project leading and directing experience, which comes to around 5 years in average, and 35 hours of learning, which is happening now. We are doing it now. So only three criterias. One is your degree or qualification, academics, and second one is the number of hours of experience in project, and third one is number of hours you learned in the class. Now, people who hold an other degree, and I say other degree, 4 years of degree, you'll be showing 4,500 hours, right? It's on leading and directing project. And this 4,500 could come approximately 3 years, right? And they have 35 hours of learning in the education, what we're doing now. So this is the basic criteria for getting the examination. That's one. Now, what is in the examination? In the examination, the exam will have 200 questions and it will go for 4 hours duration. So you have to go for examination, sit for examination and write exam for 4 hours with 200 questions. However it is, I'm going to spend another day where I'm going to spend at least a couple of hours explaining how to approach the examination, what is the study plan for the examination, and what are the key factors you have to observe when you go for the examination. I'm going to explain that elaborately in a later session. For now, I'm just giving a hint what is expected in PMP. And there is one question keep coming up. People ask me, hey, you know what? I have completed my PMP certification, but is it valid lifelong? Let me ask this question with Stephen. Stephen, are you sure the certificate is valid lifelong?
It sounds like there's recertification or like continuing education. There we go. Continuing education that you have to keep it, maintain it.
You got it. You got it. I think Eric too knows about it. Eric, you're aware of this.
Yeah, I mean, there's an expiration date on there, so I kind of assumed that.
Yeah. So the PMI don't give you lifelong. It is not your masters of computer application where I have it lifelong.
No, I mean,
So
they need to sustain their business plan.
okay. So if you see here, they have the date when I cleared the examination and the date it will be expiring. 24th of July 2019. So this year in July, my certificate will get expired. As Stephen mentioned, I have to show them 60 hours of learning in project management. They call it as professional development unit. Okay. So if I go here again, they ask for 60 professional development units in 3 years of duration. Not very urgent. It's again 3 years of duration. If we can show in 3 years of duration, it means, sorry. Okay. Just come over, come over. Okay, in 3 years of duration, if you show that, it means this certificate will be renewed further few years, where you may not need to write the exam again. So you will write the exam once in your life, after which you will gain that 60 PDUs. How to gain the PDUs? You will listen to classes something like this, or you will go to a website where the webinar, you will listen through that, and you will gain the knowledge of project management. What PMI is trying to tell you is telling that, hey, just by getting a certificate doesn't mean that you're a lifelong manager. You have to upgrade consistently because new things are coming up in the market. Go ahead, sit and listen, learn through, and come and tell me, hey, I learned 60 hours in this 3 years. I will renew your certificate further. So that's a game here. However, you have to pay the renewal fee also. So what Eric put over is right. So they make a charges there also. Fine. So that's about a little bit on the background of the stuff. What I do next is I'll go back to the slides. It'll make you understand more. Let's go framework. I'm just starting on with a heads up, and I'll repeat again, Stephen and Eric. Today I'm going to give very lightweight information to you, and you have to get the rhythm of what is PMP. You should also understand the flow, what I'm explaining here. Once we get the rhythm of it, we will increase the momentum and increase the depth of the subject. Are you good on this?
Yep, looks good to me.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
Great. We'll proceed on. Okay, amazing. Thanks for the confirmation. So here, why PMP certification? This question is always prevailing in the market as why we have to go. To become a better project manager, as the best practices have been included, procured from myriad project managers across the globe. It's a very simple statement that yes, guys, we know what's the best in the market. We are getting the essence out of it. As I was saying that only 40% of the project in the world gets successful. Rest, nearly 60% of projects are failing for some or other reason. Now, the PMI Institute or PMI body behind this is going all over the world and finding out the best practice followed in variety of industries. It is not IT, it is not infrastructure, it is not pharma. They go to every industry in the world. It could be military services, it could be home services, it could be some conducting a party, it could be conducting the census of America. They go to every part of it and understand what makes it successful, and they get the essence out of it and bring it as a systematic flow, which gives in this book called a PMBOK. And when a person complete this book, this person will have the ability to do project in any domain, literally any domain they can go on. It is because they understand the management principle, which is very common in every project management. It is something like this: a person having a driver license or driving license can drive any model of the car. They can even try the heavyweight or heavy vehicle, right? The same way, a person is getting a PMP certified or project management certified can go to any domain. It doesn't matter. But only thing where we'll have a little struck up is we should have the domain knowledge. And that you can learn in a couple of months or more. But if you know the systematic flow of handling project and you have a domain knowledge with you, you will be the best in the world where nobody can even touch you, right? Let's see a little more. It increases success rate of your project as you become the more organized. Yeah, straight away. Minimum resource utilization and making a project cost effective. Of course, most of the managers are liked by the senior management only when you show this as a point. You agree on this? And currently, we are working in a world where the cost effectiveness is highly appreciated. They keep looking out how good you can reduce the expense on the project, how good you can bring in the cost very effective, so that the project can show in a minimal amount spent the higher benefit as an output. So this is highly appreciated. So you as a manager would be expected to be a cost effective manager. How to be a cost effective manager? You should know how to utilize a resource. What is a resource? A resource could be of human resource, could be of material, both. Resource means both a human and material. We as a manager should be aware when to use it, how to use it, how efficiently we can tune this resource. These are the abilities expected from a manager. How to do that? PMI talks something called interpersonal skills, communication skills, negotiation skills, conflict management skills, resource breakdown structure, and this put into a chart clearly, and you follow systematically every resource you know when to use, and that gives a consistent results as an output, and that gives cost effectiveness in the project, right? So that we're going to see a little more deep inside as you go. For now, we'll understand the high level. Changes how they look, others or look our abilities, of course, to keep your job promoted or get a job, of course, hike in a current salary. Eric, this is a point which we like a lot, right? I love this point very much.
That's the point
I
everybody
love it.
likes.
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, end of the day, you have to prove to the world, man, I have a BMW Audi with me. Okay, great. Getting. Let me go inside. Okay, I believe I've spent this, I've shown knowledge about this in the website, but a little reiterated because this slide is visible for you. I'll just show that there are two areas. One is if you are with a bachelor degree, you have a 35 hours contact hours and you have 4,500 hours of learning. What you're going to have, the project experience. Sorry, I would reiterate it. It's 4,500 hours of project experience, which comes around 3 years, right? And this is 7,500 hours of experience, which comes to 5 years. All right. So I believe we will fall in this category. We should fall in this category when we hold the bachelor degrees with us, right? And after paying the exam fee online, PM will send the authorization letter. Exam must be taken within 1 year of receiving the authorization letter. One important point, within a year you should do that. When you apply for the examination, they'll give you 1 year of timeline. After you pay the fee, within this 1 year, you have to complete the examination. PMA may randomly choose application for auditing. This is a very interesting topic. Many people are worried that what if audit happens? I'll give you a little hint what is audit. Whenever people apply for the examination, the PMI Institute has a robotic process. What this robotic process will do is, out of 100 people, approximately 8 to 12 application will be picked for audit automatically. Once they pick for audit, they will ask the person to prove their degree, prove 35 hours, prove 4,500 hours. Now the next question, how to prove? I will have a degree certificate with me. I have to take a copy of it. I will have 35 contact which you receive from Ismart. You have to take a copy of it. 4,500 hours. We will fill in an application form. You have to take that application form as a printout and get a signature from your manager. The manager whose name you put in the application. I'm going to help you with a template of how to fill the application form, how to submit the application form. That's my responsibility. I'm going to completely help you on that. No need to bother about it. For now, this is your information. Okay. So that audit purpose like to know this information in a physical copy. You print it out, put in a courier or postal service, you send it to PMI Institute. There it stops, right? So this is on the application part. However, I'll reiterate again, no, don't worry about the application process because we have a systematic way of applying for the examination and we have a template with us and that will be shared with you. You have to just follow it for the examination. Is this deal good for you?
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thanks for confirming. We'll move on. I'll give a little heads up on the examination. It's going to be a 4 hours examination. By the way, have you ever been in 4 hours of examination before?
Not since high school. Well, not since college, really, but it's been a while.
Really? Really? You have 4 hours in college?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. How about you, Stephen? You had a 4 hours exam before?
Well, you got 4 hours to do it. I've never taken 4 hours. I got my real estate license, and it was a 4-hour exam that I finished in an hour and a half.
Oh man, 4 hours you did already. Oh, you have experience on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing. So this is going to be 4 hours. I will completely agree. It's going to be slightly strenuous process because we are not used to sit in a place for 4 hours continuously. And this exam will make you to sit in front of a computer and make you to answer the questions. I'll tell you, you will love it. The moment you start loving management and project management, and the moment you start seeing your salary getting 3 times higher, I will tell you, you won't bother sitting 4 hours. And this Of course, I did that way. When I was sitting for 4 hours, it was pain like anything. Then I thought, man, my salary is going to be 3 times. Then I said, okay, give me 2 more hours. I'll sit there. Okay. So in this 4 hours, they're going to give you 2 questions. Okay, you have to answer this. There is some concept called 25 questions, which will be inside this 200 questions, which is called as pre-test questions. And I would recommend any candidate don't bother about this particular 25 questions. And this 25 question is used for research purpose. They will plot 25 questions inside this 200 questions here and there and make candidates to answer it. They will take those question and answer, analyze it, and will use it for the next exam. I'll reiterate again. For a candidate, 200 questions compulsory, you have to go it on. But for your information, PMI saying that we will put 25 question inside this 200 question, which is for research purpose. Fine. And let's move a little more. And there is no negative marking in this 200 questions. So you can choose one question, move to next question, and it'll keep going on one by one. You can go forward, you can come backward, and you can play along. And also you can do some marking. Again, I'm going to explain about exam part on another day in a specific class on that. For now, it's just a heads up to you. And now there is something interesting. When you are done with this 200 question, it will give a word pass. I don't want to see this word at all. Let's strike it out. Okay, I want to see only this word called pass. And we are going to see the word pass in a couple of weeks or so. When we see the word pass, it will also show you how you are scored, the grading system. Are you above target? Are you on target? Are you below target? Needs improvement. There are totally 5 areas in this PMP exam. In 5 areas, each area you should be either target or above target. If you drop below that, there is a risk of this word coming up. Let's forget that word now. Let's target only this area, right? Is there any question in this page?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Great. I'm moving on. Moving on. Okay, let's getting into the framework. This is PMP framework. I'm hiding your screen. Let me move this side. Okay. So project management professional framework. Do you see a pizza here?
Yep.
Yep.
A colorful pizza here. So what is pizza going to do? We have few, when I say few, 5 areas, and it is called as project management framework. In every project, we'll have an initiation. In every project, we have a closing. Your project will start, your project will close. That's very common. For every project, we should have something to be planned. When you plan something, you have to execute it. Now, we have to start of the project, close of the project. We also know that there is a planning needed for the project. Fantastic. We also know that after planning, that should be executed. That's also clear. But not all the time that work will happen as per the plan. There'll be some errors coming up, some mistakes happening, some misjudgment would have happened. Now, how to control it? There is something called monitoring and controlling. The job of monitoring and controlling is to see, are we following this plan? The monitoring control work is to see, are we following this plan? When we are doing execution, we are watching out, are we following the plan? If we don't follow the plan and try to bring inside the plan, try, you have to underline the word try. You cannot say 100% will bring inside. There could be mismatch here and there. But still, as a manager, we have the responsibility to bring it back on the track as per the plan. If it goes beyond that, yes, Then we have to do a little more other adjustments, which we'll talk elaborately in PMP. For you, quick hint, PMP revolves around these 5 process groups. It's called as process groups. So we have, let me clear it off. So we have 5 process groups, and that's what put over in some numbers here. I'll tell you the meaning of the numbers here. When a project starts, that's going to be initiation, which is around 13%. What it means is we spend 13% of the time in project starting stage, where we make a discussion about the project charter, we understand who are the stakeholders of the project, we understand a little depth about how to handle the stakeholders. These all will happen at the beginning of the project. Once that's done, we go to the next stage, which is planning. We have to plan how to do this project effectively. The planning talks about 3 factors. Mainly talks about scope. The scope could be of requirement, right? It talks about requirement, and we talk about cost and schedule factors also. So they call it as a triple constraint. It's about cost, it will talk about schedule. I'm sorry with my bad handwriting. Is it able to understand a little bit there?
Yeah.
Okay, my digital pen skills are a little low there. I will improve it. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what this is called as triple constraint. Do you see a triangle here? And this is called triple constraint. If I change the scope, it will change the schedule. If I change the schedule, it will change the cost. I believe Stephen will agree with me completely on this. Is it true, Stephen? Okay. So okay, the point I want to put out here is these 3 are interrelated. When I change the requirement of the project, schedule and cost will have impact, and that discussion will happen in the planning phase. Now let me show another factor. There is something called execution. The execution, we in a project spend 31% of our time, and this is a huge chunk of our activity. We spend a good amount of time in executing to make it happen, and this execution will be the place where you use a resource. It could be of human resource, it could be of a material, cost factors. You utilize it to make it happen as what you planned here. It could be a plan of constructing a bridge. You put a big plan going to be of a 48 pillars and going to be a stretch of 16 kilometers and a big bridge, and that bridge planning is done. That will work here. The team will put the pillars, put the road structure, make a cements, make a big logs, and make the road and bridge coming up there. They spend 31% of the time here, but it may not happen as we think. There'll be some lag in the scope, there will be some cost problem, there could be some schedule problem, but who will handle it? We have something called monitoring and controlling, if you see here, and we spend 25% of our time keep correcting it. We planned it, we executing it. While executing, we understood that there could be some problem coming, yet we do monitoring control. In agile, they use daily scrum to do the correction. In agile, they use something called retrospective, if you heard about it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we do that in agile way, where we see every day, hey, am I doing right? Am I doing right? Am I doing right? If not, correct yourself. Correct yourself. So methodology stands away, and you can understand this as a common pattern of any project in the world. And we will spend at least 7% of our time in closing the project. Closing a project is very important. In a sense, you have to close the contracts, agreements, deals, hand over the product, get the money back. All will happen, close the project. So this is very common 5 process groups across any project in the world. Take it as software project, take it as an infrastructure project, take it as a birthday party. A birthday party is a project. You plan for a birthday party, you initiate a birthday party discussion, how to do it, when to do it, who will come, and you plan it. You plan for the time where to conduct the party. Is it going to be a restaurant? It's going to be the bay. It's going to be in your parking yard, in a lawn. We plan it, and you execute the day of birthday. On the day of birthday, you thought there should be a light music. A guy should play a guitar there, which is very beautiful to listen. Unfortunately, on the day of a birthday, the person says that, sir, I can't come to the program. I have a problem. So you have to monitor and control it. You'll do something, alternate adjustments to make the program very effective. That will be a monitor and control. And you close the project when the birthday party gets over. I'm just putting a very simple example here, which happens in our day-to-day life. But this is with you and with your friends. It's easy to handle at times. But when you go to real project, when the client is paying you millions of dollars, you cannot give an excuse saying that, you know what, I thought of giving the project deliverable by Friday. Sorry guys, but I'll give you only by next Friday. Will they agree?
No.
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 They will turn into Mike Tyson.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's a heavyweight champion boxing that time. Boxing day. So we have to have a systematic flow to tell them that, hey, you know what? We have a system in place. When we take a task, when we make a plan, we keep reviewing our plan consistently to see, are we following it? Are we delivering it? If we can't deliver it on time, I won't tell you on the last day. I will inform you ahead and keep you prepared. Guys, I won't deliver the project on the day what you want, but I will deliver in this particular date in this quality. Now my customer will be happy. Imagine I'm booking a product in Amazon online app. It should arrive on a Monday morning, but it is not arriving. Do they tell you the last day? Are they updating at least couple of days before in the WhatsApp or in the message? If you order something in Amazon, are they telling you the last day it's getting delayed, or are we getting some update in the email, or are we getting in the Amazon app? I believe we are getting it. At least I get it, telling that it's going to be delayed by 1 day. It's going to be delayed by 2 days, and this is a reason. So they're keeping the stakeholders informed that there is something going wrong. We will correct it out. Just coming out of that. So this is the 5 process groups which is going to be elaborately discussed in this particular session. So this 5 process groups, does it look very common for you, or it is a very new topic for you?
No, that looks about right.
Pretty common. Pretty common. Pretty common. It's not a very rocket science. It's a very pretty common. But only thing is, when we see it as in a paper or in a slide, it looks very simple. But when it comes to real happening, when you work with the 15 to 20 people or 100 people, there it gets slightly complicated. When you say initiation some information, not everybody trusts you. Or when you listen to someone, you don't feel convincing. So there, the people handling related information and people related interpersonal skills gets into little trouble. We'll talk about it a little later. For now, I'll hold it here that there is something called 5 process groups in PMP framework. If you got this message, you are already ready for the examination. Right, I'll get little close. Okay, I'm just going to give a heads up. Here they use a PMIism. What it means is how the PMI institute or a project management exam look a candidate in exam hall. When you go and sit in the exam hall, they look you as a person who has worked with at least more than 200 people in projects. It means that they look you as a person who has a depth knowledge in project management. And they also sometimes expect you would have worked in a project of $10 million worth. Doesn't mean that they're going to say that you will get qualified only then. No, that's not the message here. The message here is when an exam question comes, the exam question will think a candidate would have such kind of background. So question will be framed in that mindset. Fine, that's what I want to convey here. So what I do, I'll go further. I will explain more on other factors. Okay, Eric and Stephen, I have a sample question here. I would expect you to read the question here, all right? And it's a situational question, and try answer one out of this four, A, B, C, D. And when you choose the answer, we will discuss about it. Does it look good? We'll try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just read through and try answer.
Well, I guess I would be thinking, I guess I'd probably be looking at debating between C and D. I'd probably,
Okay. Sounds
I
very
think I'd
interesting.
probably,
Huh?
I think I'd go with D.
Okay, you are close there. How about Eric? How it's coming up for you?
You know, I was leaning towards D as well. I guess
Mhm.
you know. I guess it depends on. I guess it depends on where in the actual process you are when you receive the notification
True, true. I
that the
agree.
project will be delayed.
I agree. That sounds. Hey,
I
by the
think
way,
I would think you'd meet with your team, try and come up
mhm,
with an alternative option before you went to the customer.
Yeah,
So that when you're talking to the customer, you've
that's
got
why I was leaning
yeah.
towards D.
Before you talk to the customer, you've got options and you've hopefully got a plan.
God's sake, you guys are rocking. You are ready for the exam. Seriously, that's the right answer. Oh, I didn't expect this. I've had a hard time with the candidates to convince. So most of the people go with the answer C. Okay,
But you don't
that's
always want to let the customer know because you don't want to incite panic into it.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's
You don't want
that's
them flipping a lid.
Well,
seriously
whatever happens internally between the customer
fantastic.
requesting the project and receiving it, it doesn't matter to them. Get them the end product. That's it.
Fantastic, fantastic. I can see the experience with both of you now. You can answer it really well. I'm sure the PMP is going to be very easy for you. Okay.
So,
Now, yeah. You could understand the ask from PMP that I can sense from both of you now.
well,
Okay, I will.
I found my PMBOK book, so that's a good thing. It was stuck behind a chair on my front porch, so so I'm
So,
good now.
so you found it today?
I was looking after you mentioned it. I went out and looked at Amazon, and it was
Uh-huh.
delivered on Wednesday, and it said it was stuck in a secure location. I'm like, what the hell is a secure location? Luckily, they had a picture of it, and I went out and found it. Yeah, it was stuck behind a chair on my front porch.
God, man. Hey, that should be a huge book, isn't it? Look like a
It's a
pillow.
big book. Yeah, it's 700 pages.
It's a huge book. Okay. I will tell you how to read this book. If not, also, we have other books also there in the market. I'll tell you what all can be read. Don't be worried about the size of the book. We'll understand how to go through navigate this book. I'll help you out.
Okay.
Okay. Now, coming back to this question, I put this question to get a feel of how to look out the exam questions. Now, in exam question, they're asking like this: you receive notification that a major item you are purchasing. They're putting a very key word here, major item. It means it could be a project blocker. You are purchasing for a project will be delayed. What is the best thing? The key here is keyword is best thing. Of course, all the answers are almost close to the right answer, but they're looking for a best option. What you, being a manager there, will choose. That's a ask. Now, when we analyze the answers, will you pre-plan your project to accommodate this delay? Yes, can be done. But that's not the ask here. They're asking what you'll do now. So this can't work out. Then notify your manager? No way. If I'm going to tell him, the manager will tell you, then why I employed you? Right? So that's not out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to tell my manager, you know what? It's not working. Okay, go home, sleep well. Don't come to office tomorrow.
Don't come back ever.
Forget the job. Go home. Watch NBA. Okay. Now let the customer know, man, this is going to kill you. If you tell the customer, at least if you tell the manager, he will ask, go home by evening. If you tell the customer, that moment he has to go home. So you lost the job that moment itself. So you can't tell to your customer also. Now, the best thing is I heard from Stephen and Eric, meet the team. That's very crucial. And even the agile speaks the same. Be consistently in touch with the team, understand what is the depth of it, and then identify the alternatives. If a purchased item is delayed, I should find who other vendor available in the market whom I can get the item immediately. So that is the ask here, right? So this could be one kind of question. They call it as situational questions. In exam, you will get nearly 160 questions, which could be of situational questions, something like this. Does it look very complicated for you?
No, that was pretty.
Pretty straight.
Yeah, that was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Can be done. But I'm just giving you this an example. But exam question will be a little more depth with a little more scenario explained. It won't be 2 lines. It could be 5 to 6 lines explaining a scenario, a situation, and they go a little deep inside. I'm just giving heads up to you. Okay, let's move. I'm so much convinced and so much impressed with both of you answering the answer perfectly. Let's move. Okay, I'm just putting a plan how to prepare for the examination. There is something called PMP exam content outline. I'm going to show that now. We have to see that content outline. The content outline talks about in which blocks the exam question will be targeted, right? And the second one goes on, enroll in a formal study course center. Yes, you are with us. We are the best center you are for learning PMP. And third one is prepare a study plan. I'm going to share you an Excel sheet which will have a study plan, which day what you have to read. And then you go for the PMBOK guide, review the latest edition of PMBOK. Yes, we are reviewing it. What we are doing now, this is the one we are doing now. And practice some mock test. Of course, you will get a mock test and you will practice it. And form a study group. I would recommend Stephen and Eric work consistently together, and I will also be there. We'll form a group, and this group will be consistently in touch until you complete the examination. So this is a plan I have with you. Does the plan looks good? Anything to be added more?
That looks good to me.
Yeah, I think I'm good with this.
Okay, sounds good. Let's move on. What I do is, first I'll show you what is the exam outline. I will go out of the slide. I will have outline. Here it goes. Is it outline? Yeah, it's outline. Now, what happened is PMI has published a PDF, which is out 19 pages. And they give examination outline. What they mean by outline? They say that, hey, you know what? These are the areas questions can come. And this outline was formed in the year 2015. It is bit at least 3-4 years old, and still we are following the same. No change in that. I'll come little down and go down, go down. Now, if you see here, they're saying that, did I show you a pie chart with the different colors and different number? Yeah. The pie chart was talking about each area: initiation, planning, executing, MNC, closing. Now they're saying 13% of exam questions will come in initiation. In planning, we'll get 24% of questions. What I mean by 13% is, in 200 questions, 13% will be 26 questions. So you can expect 26 questions in this area. In planning, they're saying 24%, which will be 48 questions. In exam, you can expect 48 questions coming from the area called planning. Something like this goes down. When it comes to closing, 7% of questions will come related to closing subject, which is again 14 questions. Is this clear now? Okay. When I come down, in initiation, they say 13% of questions, they give a highlight in which area they prefer to ask you the question. And if you go down, they explain a paragraph of which area. These areas are marked in the book which Stephen just found under his chair. Okay, that is a PMBOK book. They're telling that these are the areas we'll be targeting on questions. I would recommend Eric and Stephen to read this 19 pages PDF at your free time. I'm going to share this PDF to you.
Perfect.
Fine?
That was my next question. Yes.
Yes, you will get it right away. I'm going to share the PDF. This will be one of the tasks after our post training. You'll read through this to get a little idea. I completely agree. You cannot understand 100%, but just read it once what it is talking about. That will give some little idea. Okay. Saying that, I will get back to our slides. Okay, here it is. Okay, it's time to get inside. Now, I was giving a little background about what is PMP and was talking about the exam questions and talking about what are the outline of it. And I was talking about a little bit about how many hours of exam. And we even saw what a sample question look like. So far, I was trying to set a ground for Eric and Stephen. Hey, this is what we are going to do. Now on, we are going to get inside the subject. When I say inside the subject, we are going to understand what PMP is trying to tell Eric and Stephen about the project management. Even though we have enough knowledge handling multiple projects, sometimes certain words used in PMI will not be related to the words what you use in your real life. What I mean is, some new words you will come to learn in PMI. So I would recommend you to unlearn certain terms and learn the new terms. I'll reiterate. In this situation, when you see some new terms, new thought process, new concept in PMI being discussed, I would recommend to unlearn and learn what PMI says. Because when you go for the examination, you will be expected to answer in their dimension. You cannot answer on your own dimension. It may not work all the time. You both are with me on this?
Yep.
Perfectly. Let's go with the basics. What is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor undertaken. The very clear statement. It's a temporary endeavor undertaken to produce a unique product or a service. The simplest answer given here, and I love this answer, and it gives a clear explanation. A project is temporary. A project will have a definite start date and a definite end date. It is temporary means definitive beginning and end. It's called a project, right? And it produces unique results, unique product. Every project will give a unique product. So now a project could be very much unique, very much temporary nature, and it will be something demanded by the market, demanded by the public, demanded by the performing organization, demand from the government, legal rules. Some or other thing will generate an idea, and that idea could become a project. I'll just show something. Let's hear from you. Okay, you both see a screen here. What is this all about? What do you see in the screen?
I see an oil derrick.
Yeah, perfectly. So the first time when they, or the time when they install this oil rig, let's say it's in the Gulf of Mexico where they did it. And now this work of installing this oil rig can be called as a project. It would have happened for at least 2 years or 3 years of timeline with billions of dollars, and they make it happen. And it'll have a definitive start date and they'll have a definitive end date telling that oil rig X should be completed. And that is very much unique in nature. Even though the same company which does this oil rig, they would have done 4 or 5 oil rigs in the world. But even though they did 4 or 5, when they come in to do in the bay here, it is unique for them. It is because the location is unique, the timeline they're doing is unique, the cost factor involved is unique, the resource involved is unique. When you combine all this unique nature, and this project becomes unique. After this oil rig has been installed, they started taking oil, the crude oil out of this particular location, and that becomes an operations. That becomes a process. You both got the point what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a project is something which is unique in nature. You do it on the first time, and after which it is handed over to the operations team, and they start utilizing it day in, day out. Right? I'll give very easy example to understand more. Have you seen this something McDonald's? I'm sure you would have visited a couple of times more than that. And this McDonald's is a center, a food center. Now, when the first time put this building, will you call it as a project or a process or operations?
To build a building, I'd call it a project.
Perfectly, absolutely right. The first time when you put up the building like this, McDonald's, even though we have n number of McDonald's in US, when it is done in your locality, it is a project because it is very unique in nature. It has a start and end timeline, and it is going to be there for the first time in that location. So that's a project. But after that, on a everyday basis, they started serving you burger or fruits, or could be a drink, and that's going to be operations. So you'll have set of resource working there as an operation, and every day they do some activity. After 1.5 years, McDonald's find that this facility is not sufficient. They want to expand it a little more. They want to expand another 500 square feet, or say 2000 square feet space. If they do that enhancement, now will you call it as a project or operations?
That would be a project again.
Perfect. You rocked it. Eric, you agree on this point?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that becomes a project, and again, it is very unique in nature. So now, what PMI is trying to tell you is every project is very unique in nature, and it is something temporary, right? This is the message you want to convey. But don't expect in exam there is a question, what is a project? Definitely no. This is just to give a basic, we'll move on. Right? Okay, now I'll go to the structure of the organization. So in an organization, there is a structure being followed. I will go from the top-down approach. When I say top-down approach, every organization will have some strategy. I'm sure you are aware of your organization strategy. There will be some 5 or 6 strategies set over an organization at a top level. It could be telling that increase the share value, increase the goodwill of the company, increase the profit of it, or bring more efficient resource. It could be anything. There could be n number of things, but they choose top 5 or 6 strategy of for the year, every organization. Strategy should percolate down to the level where the team is working. But an organization cannot directly pass information. We need some layers. Why we need the layers? Because we as a human being, we need a systematic flow which needs us to get communicated on the time when we need it. Organization will set the strategy at the beginning of the year, but a project is a long running whole 12 months of the year. So an organization strategy should go to the down level to the project managers and the project team. Before that, we have a couple of layers. There is a layer called portfolio management, right? When I say portfolio management, an organization will have multiple portfolios, right? It can be one portfolio can be of a steel. When I say steel, metal steels. One can be of automobile. One can be of IT industry. One can be of real estate. There can be of multiple portfolios in an organization. And these portfolios will work as a vertical in an organization. And now this portfolio, let's take this portfolio as a real estate. They are the real estates. Okay. I'll use a proper pen. Okay. So let's say it's real estates. Okay. Now this portfolio will have set of programs. There's a programs under that. A real estate or construction group, or the real estate group will have multiple programs. One can be of home, that is they're giving home for the people who need it. One can be of corporate buildings. One can be of schools, right? Now they group it as a program. So any project happening for a home construction, and that falls under program A. Anything on the corporate buildings and IT corridors will fall under program B. And anything on the school and colleges will fall under portfolio or program A. Now, what they are trying to say here is they are passing the strategy to the portfolio, and it is getting passed to the program managers. And the program is a collection of projects where it working together can give benefit to the organization. You cannot group home construction projects with corporate building construction projects. Does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have to group as they can work together. I can share material and resources of one project to another project here if it is grouped in the right way. I can share the school related project related material and resources with the other project. So for that reason, it has been grouped under each program. So there is a strategy, and the strategy comes to the portfolio managers, and portfolio managers pass to the program managers, and program management team will have set of projects working together as a group, which gives benefit. Have you guys seen this kind of structure in your organization?
I've seen similar,
Yes, of course, similar, because PMI follows a similar pattern. Now,
but
the
I've
manager,
also seen where a lot of the companies stretch the resources, and it doesn't matter about program A, program B, B1. It's all a shared resource, and they get shared across the whole portfolio.
okay. But when I was talking with in the morning hours, the beginning, I was talking about 60% of the projects get into trouble. 40% of the projects win the game. And they're saying that when we follow systematic flow, something like this, the team has a shield of management system where they can work very much focused on what they want to do. When they do that, the team can drive towards this 40% of successful projects. Right? Does it make sense? Yeah. So now I was talking about the operations. What happened is, project is the one which we come with oil rig or McDonald's. Once that project is done, it is handed over to the operations team. And from there on, the operations will take care. And this project team will move to the next project. When I say next project, it could be new oil rig or new McDonald's or new mobile application or new construction of a school or new construction of a home or a new car design, or it could be a new NASA rocket coming up as satellite to be launched, right? Once they do that with a start date and the end date, and they will hand it over to the operations team. And this operations teams fall under portfolio. The portfolio take care of operations. Portfolio also take care of program and projects. Now I'll reiterate it. An organization has a strategy at a higher level, which could be at the CEO level, director level, they have a strategy. And that strategy percolates down to the portfolio. We have a portfolio here. There could be another portfolio here. There could be another portfolio here. There could be a number of portfolios. And portfolio is nothing but a vertical slicing of the company with a different domain what they follow. And portfolio will have programs Program is nothing but collection of projects working together, which can give benefit to the program, which can give benefit to the organization. And this is a system being followed, right? Eric, you added some point there. Can you little bit give some example what you saw in your real life on this particular structure?
I mean, this particular structure is how how the current company I work for follows it, but the last company I worked for, to put politely, was very frugal with their money. So what would wind up happening is resources would leave the company in one way or another, and then instead of replacing those resources, the responsibilities of that resource were just absorbed by whoever was left. So now you had now you had people who were working only on, for example, in your diagram, people who've only worked on program A are now being thrown into program B with no experience of the inner workings of this program or how any of the projects or anything works in there. So now you can imagine that the project failure rate just kept going up and up and up. And
That's man.
That's
That's
what caused me
nightmare,
to.
Eric. Yeah, I can understand. When a resource moves out, we have to plan for new resource. Now you are saying that they are asked to absorb the work.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. Then nobody will go home, stay at office.
And then it winds up people being overworked on one project and in one program, and then they don't meet the commitment that they've already had in place for 2 or 3 months there because they're focused on this new program, and it got pretty hairy pretty quickly. So I like this diagram because it keeps everything, in their lane.
Yeah, that's crazy, you know what? The ideal case you shared, Eric, this is the reason the quality of the project drops. So if you skew the resource to do more than one or heavy load them, there is a high probability that the resource would lose the rhythm and focus of the project. And when that happens, the quality drops drastically, and that leads to 60% of the failure in the project.
Not only that, it also has cost implications because in the beginning of the project, you have cost-related, commitments that you've made, and you incur penalties if you don't meet those commitments. So, I never understood why not to spend the money in the short term to save you money in the long term, but they didn't see it the same way.
God's sake, that's crazy. But if you see here, you will see something called shared resources. Okay. This can be done, but provided, as we were discussing, shared resource can happen within a program. You cannot push a resource from program A to program B. What will happen is a person who is so good in home construction, you can't put them in corporate building construction, where there could be a difference of knowledge and difference of costing factor. So that can hit harder. You have to take the resource, train the resource in corporate building structure, and then give them the job. But currently, sometimes what happens is on the shortage of resource, they will just pull a resource from here and put it here. And that will put it in a very bad situation, right? That happens. Okay, I can really sense that. Stephen, you have any points on this flow? Anything you want to like to share?
No, at this point, I'm just taking it in. I've never worked in a large corporate environment like where there's, because like I said, I've been self-employed for 25 years.
Oh yeah.
But I've done all the project management for building my companies and building my networks. But I've never. It's always been myself managing. I guess that'd be me doing all the programs.
Yeah, I understand, Stephen. You set the strategy. You'll be the portfolio manager. I agree. I agree on that. Yeah, okay. I worked for a long time with Verizon. I know you are working with Verizon as well, isn't it? Okay, some years I was working with Verizon, and I have literally seen that this structure being followed. And it's not only for Verizon, any Fortune company, if you go in, they will have a structure something like this. Similarly, name will be slightly differing, but you will have a strategy, portfolio, program, and project. This is very common. Very common. Right,
Yeah.
good. I just want to give a heads up on this, and you may not find much question in examination in this area, but I felt this is good to understand for learning purpose. All
Yeah, it
right.
makes sense. It makes it makes sense to me. I understand. Yeah, I understand where it's coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, we will move on. Next one. Hey, by the way, we started the program an hour before. So if you feel you want a break, we can think of a break. So yeah, it's 11:11 now. So what time will be good for a break for you? Maybe 10 minutes break if you want.
Yeah, 10 minutes works for me.
Yeah, works for me also.
Right, we need it. It's 11:11. We will connect by 11:25 or 20.
Sure.
Sounds good.
Okay, it's time. Let's take a break, relax, and come back in 10 minutes.
All right.
Right. Thank you.
Hey, I'm back. Am I audible?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back.
Hey,
I'm here.
It was perfect. It was just enough time to go walk the dog.
Hey, I'm just reconfirming. Is my audio clear for you?
Clear
I
on my
feel like,
side.
yeah, it's good. But I feel like you were a little bit clearer before. It sounds kind of like you're on speakerphone now.
I'm with my headsets with Sony. If the clarity is not good, I want to change the headset. How is it now?
No, it's good.
Okay. Okay, let's go. Let's go further on. Okay, that was a good break. So what we do now? What I do is I have a video which gives a little background about project management. I thought of playing it at the beginning. However, we discussed a little bit. I will give a video which talks about a management background. Are you ready to listen to the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Great. Okay, let me know whether you're able to, it's audible for you.
It's as if something were calling me.
Is it audible?
Yep.
A voice from the past, like some sort of inherited memory.
I'm holding it. I'm asking it whether the audio is good. I want to increase the volume.
No, the audio sounds good to me.
Perfect, perfect. Was it a good one?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good look at
I
you know,
think,
and how these concepts apply. You know, not even in a
yeah,
modern world.
yeah, that's right. I was referring this particular video when I was discussion with project management. When I first saw this video, I was totally amazed. I thought, oh man, they were able to do 4,000, 5,000 years back. Then I read a little bit about this article. It was quite interesting. They were following the systematic flow, perfect accuracy, and they were able to deliver it on time, even though they didn't have a high equipment machines by the time. It was all of a human effort, and they were able to calculate perfectly. Right? It was so amazing. And this kind of project will fall under the 40% of successful projects. So that was interesting. So this thought of sharing with you, Eric and Stephen. Yeah. Okay. So what I do is I'll go back to this slide. I'll get back here, and this is the place you're talking about. So we'll move from this framework introduction, which talks about the portfolio, program, and project. And one information I want to put you here, there is something called PMO. Are you aware of a PMO? The role called PMO?
You said BMO or PMO, like P like Paul?
Yeah, Project Management Office, PMO.
Okay.
Okay. There is a role called Project Management Office. That is PMO, and this PMO it called PMO. And this person, it be individual or set of team. It's called Project Management Office. They sit or they be between the portfolio and program and the project team. Their role is connecting these three. They will connect portfolio, they connect the program, they connect the project. What I mean by connect is the PMO will be the person helping the program managers and the project managers to get enough information about the corporate. This corporate has a 5 strategy. The corporate has some policies. The corporate has some procedures. The corporate has some lessons learned. Lessons learned. Right? And this all be recorded in some books, could be of file, could be of internet information. This all will be with the PMO. The PMO is a centralized person, or he or she will have the information control of the organization. And the project team can reach the PMO, portfolio can reach PMO, program can reach PMO to get the details of these information, which they can use in their project. So this PMO will help the team be a bridge between the teams. For example, in this project, they expect another 5 new resources. The 5 new resource can be of human resource or could be of some material. And in this project, I'll put the same project here. In this project, we have 7 resources available. Now, there is a chance that the 2 managers may not have a communication consistently with them. Rather, a PMO will be aware that there is 7 resources available here. When this manager asks for 5 resources, they will quickly allocate that resource to this particular project. What I'm trying to say here is the PMO is a centralized person who has the information about the organization overall and help the projects at the time needed with the information of resource, with the information of the policies, with the information of the procedures, with the information of lessons learned. And that is going to be the bridge factor. Have you ever come across a person called PMO in your corporate, Eric?
No, I have not.
Not it. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so there is a role PMO called, it's there. I will explain it in coming slides. We'll have some more slides talking about PMO also.
So what I do, I'll move from here. Okay, let's get to PMP Framework Introduction. How the PMP works. There are some tiger, lion, and all this stuff here. Let's not get scared about it. We'll go to the upper paragraph here. PMP, what is project management? It is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. To be very specific, what project management means, the knowledge is something like which you gained out of experience. Now I heard from Stephen is saying that 25 years he was handling a person handling the project on his own. Imagine the amount of knowledge Stephen would have gained. Or Eric was talking about decade of experience on handling the customers, being with them. And that is a knowledge base. Now that knowledge base, right? It's like a terabytes of information in your brain, which is there to help you. Now, with that, you learn the skills. When I say skills, we were seeing a couple of slides back, that is initiation, planning, execution, how to do the project management. That is skills. You learn through that. After learning that, there are certain tools and techniques. When I say tools and techniques, there could be any tools or techniques. One of the tool and technique can be it can be of an effective meeting. I will put in a way that a tool technique can be of conducting a meeting is a tool. Utilizing Jira as a tool. Utilizing, there is something called earned value management. Have you ever heard about this? Okay.
I mean, I use Jira every day. I haven't heard of the other piece though.
Ah, you heard about EVM? That's amazing.
No, I have not. I was saying I use Jira every day. I'm the
okay.
Jira administrator.
You live with Jira. Okay. Stephen, for a quick update, Jira is a software which helps a person to record the project information. Right. See, in the current world, we record the information in a document, MS Word, or we record in Excel sheet. This is what we do now. We use a document and Excel sheet. Now, if you put that into one software, and that software can be called as Jira. In Jira, it is a software where you keep updating the regular document details, where it is visible to anyone who have access to it. It's a kind of recording the information, following up the information. Now we'll come back. There is something called, to have effective project management, you as a manager will be expected to have a knowledge that is out of your experience and the skills, what you learn from the PMP book, and you learn the tools and techniques how to use it. When you have this three combination, that project is going to be a very successful project. And to do this effectively, PMP is bringing out some processes. I will talk about what are the processes talk about here. If you see here, they have something called 49 processes and 5 process groups. If you remember it really well, sometime back we talked about initiation, planning, execution, MNC, and closing. This is called 5 process groups. And then what is 49? That is where the game starts. What I do is I'll take you to a journey. Don't get panicked. Don't get much worried. I'm saying too much of data to you. This is just to give you understanding of what PMI is looking out from you. I believe this sheet is visible to you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the important sheet of PMP. I'll tell you how to look at this. If you see here, this is a 5 process groups. Initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, control, and closing. Now, any project will go through these 5 phases. To do this 5 process effectively, we should have knowledge in 10 areas. What are the areas? It's slightly echoing. Is anybody putting in speaker there? Can you please go on mute? Yeah, thank you. Still is going. Can you try once mute with your?
I was on mute, so I was trying to figure out where it was coming from.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. So what happened is we have 5 process groups and we have 10 knowledge areas. When I say knowledge areas, integration is a knowledge area, scope is a knowledge area, schedule, cost, quality, resource, and we have communication, risk, right? And we have procurement and stakeholders. I'll tell you how to understand this in a clear way. Now, every project will have something called as triple constraints. What is triple constraint? I'll draw it here. A triple constraint is a triangle. It will have scope as a constraint. Anything change in the requirement in the project will have a trouble. We have something called schedule as a constraint. Schedule is timing factor. Then we have cost as a constraint. And these 3 are called as triple constraints. And you have a scope here, you have a schedule here, you have a cost here. And any project will revolve around this. And as a manager, you are, as a director, as a CEO of a company, you are expected to have a knowledge of what is the requirement from the customer, how much time it will take to complete, what will be the cost of the project. And these 3 parameters are called as triple constraints. They use the word triple constraints. Right? Now we got the triple constraints. Actually, in a project, we have totally 6 constraints. Now we know 3 constraints. Can you tell me 3 more constraints? What can be?
Resources?
Fantastic. Amazing. You rocked it. Yeah. Try some more.
Time?
Yeah, we put time. Time is here, scheduled already.
Okay.
I would think quality is going to be one.
Stephen, you rocked it. You rocked it, literally. Yeah. Then one more, last one. One more constraint.
Communications.
Communication is important, but that is not considered as a constraint so far. There is one more thing which starts with R, letter R.
Risk.
Wow, you rock. You rock. That's a risk. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I will make it a little more clear here. What I do. Okay. So if you see a screen here, you will see multiple constraints. 1, 2, 3. It is called as triple constraint. With that, you had 3 more constraints: resource, quality, and risk. Any project will play around the 6 constraints. If you are a manager, you are expected to play your game within the 6 constraints. One fine day, the customer will come and ask you a new requirement. When they ask a new requirement, you will have to change the time of the project. When you change the time of the project, it will hit the cost of the project. You agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. When you do these 3 factors, your resource will not cooperate with you. There will be some or one or other thing will keep pulling up and down. And when you balance all the stuff, there will be some quality issue popping up. Eric was adding a point that when the resource is relieved from the company, they ask other resource to observe the work. Is that correct, Eric?
Yes, that was the case.
Yeah, look at that way. If you make a resource to work more than the task a person can handle, that will definitely drop the quality. So quality becomes a constraint there. When the quality have a trouble, definitely risk will pop up. You will get a lot of risk in your project. So now let us consider these 6 constraints are very important thing which a manager expected to have knowledge. A director of a company, a program manager of the company is expected to have knowledge of it. So when you have a knowledge on that, you will be an efficient manager to handle the situation. And that 6 falls here. If you see here, 1, 2, 3 constraints, 4th constraint, 5th constraint, 6th constraint. So what you're doing is you have to gain knowledge in 10 areas. You have to gain knowledge in 10 areas. So far you have seen 4 areas. Sorry, 6 items. You have to get knowledge in 10 items. Now you got knowledge in 6. These are 6 items. Now 4 more are there. What are the 4 more? One is communication. Other one is procurement. When I say communication, it is the one which set the path, how the team will talk to one another. That's communication. Procurement, it is a third-party vendor management. I will talk elaborately about it. For now, the hint is vendor management. In a project, you cannot handle everything on your own. You should go for a third party where they can give you some part of the work get completed. If I say the BMW vehicle coming out of the car showroom or car manufacturing, not every part is done by BMW. The tires would be from different company. The steering system would be from different company. Specifically, audio system will be for different company. Now that part, how you handle it, right? In a project of 100%, I have to give 20% to third party. That is vendor management. That talks in procurement. And one interesting area which everybody love to learn, which is called as stakeholder management. By the way, who is stakeholder in a project?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Who is a stakeholder in a project?
In my project?
Yeah, your project or any project. Whom you called as a stakeholder in a project?
The stakeholders are the ones who have the interest in whatever you're managing.
Perfect. Yeah, you nailed it perfectly. Yes, that's right. Stakeholders can be yourself, your team, and your senior management, the customer, the end user, or even can be some of the negative participant in the project. I'll explain more when you go to stakeholders. For now, understand, stakeholder is a person who is directly or indirectly impacted or impacting a project positively or negatively. It's a big statement. I'll repeat again when you go for stakeholder management. For now, understand that stakeholders are the very key for a project. It's purely a human factor. Now I'm going back again. So we have to have knowledge in 10 areas to become an effective project manager to give the 40% successful project in the world. If you want to be a manager of giving 40% successful project in the world, when you go through the triple constraints and also understand the overall other 3 constraints, which is the 6 constraints, along with that, you know how to communicate, you know how to have vendor in your project, you know how to handle the stakeholders in the project. I'll tell you, nobody can touch you. You will be the topmost manager. And to do that effectively, there's one thing expected. That is called as integration management. So I'm touching all the 10. In that, integration is a very important area. Why? Because by the word integration, it is going to connect all the dots. See, if you see here, these are all individually famous guys, but someone has to integrate it. When I say integration, connecting all the dots. If you go to music orchestra, have you seen a person standing in the center called a conductor? Have you seen them? Have you been to live music orchestra somewhere?
Your audio kind of got a little further away.
Yeah, just kind of crashed.
Sorry, I missed it. Can you repeat again?
Yeah, your audio just kind of degraded in quality over the last.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me change the headset.
There it is. No, you're better now. There you go.
Maybe I lean towards a laptop. It's not coming well. Okay. So, have you been to any orchestra music show where set of people playing music? Have you been witnessed it?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Okay. What I do is I just change my headsets. Hold on. Am I audible now?
Yes, can you go ahead and repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Have you been to any music orchestra, a music live show?
No, I mean, yeah, I've been to a few orchestra shows.
Okay. Have you seen a person standing in the center of this program and conducting the program?
Yeah,
And
the
this,
conductor.
yeah, conductor, you got it perfectly. The conductor is a person who knows the symphony and the music which need to come through. And this person standing in the center will be waving his stick with him, right? And when he push the right arm, the people on the right side will play the different tone. When he push his left arm, set of people on the left side will pull the tone different way. It could be guitar, it could be a flute, it could be a drum, some music coming up. And now that person standing in the center is the conductor of the program, is the project manager. And this project manager is clearly aware that what outcome is expected and start moving his rhythm in a way the team can play through. And that role is called as integration management. You start connecting everyone in the project and play the music what you want. And that's covered in this knowledge area. So I'll reiterate this sheet. This is called as PMP 49 process sheet. You will have 49 process inside this. I'm going to explain one by one. And this will be the very important Google map for your PMP. And this sheet is very important. I will share this sheet with you over the email when you close the class today. I'm going to share one more PDF also, which I discussed already. Now, in this PMP, we have 5 process group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know this what it is. To work in a project effectively, you have knowledge in 10 areas. When I say 10 areas, 3 plus 3, you have 6 constraints. Up to this, you are very clear. Eric and Stephen, you are clear up to this point?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm pretty clear up to this point. I mean, the only thing I'd have to add is I'm glad you added those last 3 points about resource quality and risk, because those are the 3 points that I deal with pretty much on an everyday basis with the scope piece, but really the resource quality and risk one.
Fantastic. I appreciate it. Thanks for the inputs. Now, this as a manager, you're expected to have knowledge in 10 areas. So I'm going to address one by one. The whole plan of this program of PMP class with you is I'm going to address all this 10 one by one. One day I will take schedule to talk about it. Then I will talk cost, I will talk scope, I will talk about resource, quality, risk. And this is being ordered in a way like this. So I'm going to talk about 6 out of this knowledge area. Apart from that, we have 4 more, which I said communication is 1, and we have procurement, we have stakeholder, and finally I will come to integration. And this I will touch you only after I explain all this 9. If you see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I will touch 9 knowledge areas and then come the 10th one the last day. That is integration. Only when you know all this 9, you will be in a position to talk the 10th one. Of course, it stands in the topmost line, but still, I would recommend candidates to understand the base knowledge so that they can understand the topmost knowledge. That's a plan. So this is called as 49 process sheet. Why they call it as 49 process sheet? I'll tell you. Now, we know in the top level there are 5 process groups. On the left panel, we have 10 knowledge areas. So these are the two combinations expected from a manager to do the project effectively. Now, there are 49 processes. If you see here, there's first process, develop project charter. Have you ever seen a charter in your project?
No, I have not.
Okay. I believe Stephen would have touched a little more charters in his projects. Is that right, Stephen?
Yeah.
You tried it. Okay. Charter is nothing but a high-level document. It will be a document which talks very high-level information about the project and how to prepare that information. That will be discussed in this develop project charter. Now, this is one of the process in total 49 processes. What we process here is we spend time as a team to develop a charter which give a high level information about the project. For example, I took over the oil rig. The oil rig project could be of $5 billion. That's a high level. High level, it says that complete the work in 36 months. High level. It will tell that oil rig to be done in Gulf of Mexico. Some part it should be done. And these are very high level. It may not have a depth information, but it will give a high level scope what is expected in a project. And that is one of the process called as develop charter. Like this, we'll go one by one. Like this, we have multiple processes in place. And when you count these processes, it will have total 49 processes we have here. And now I'll give a number to you. We have 5 process groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we have 10 knowledge areas. And in the center, we have 49 processes. And this will be your winning formula for PMP. To win PMP, you should know there is 5 process groups. You should know that there is 10 knowledge areas. You should know that there is 49 processes to learn through. And this sheet is what explained in 700 pages, which Stephen has recently bought. Is that right, Stephen? Is it 700 pages?
Oh, sorry, I had you on mute. So you didn't hear me. Yeah, that's yep.
700 pages book. The 700 pages book talks about these 3 numbers: 5 process groups, 10 knowledge areas, and 49 processes. They will go every piece by piece and explain. They will take this one piece and explain in 2 to 3 pages. They will take this piece, explain 5 pages. They'll go this piece, explain in 10 pages. They'll go one by one, and they go by rows and columns and explain everything. Now, Stephen Eric can ask me a question. Hey Sri, tell me, do I need to go in a sequential way to do this project, or can I jump here and there? If that's a question, I'll tell you, PMP don't follow any specific sequence. It is paralleling activity. When you develop the charter, simultaneously some other action will be happening. I'll explain a little more when you go deep inside into it. For now, understand that there is no sequence being followed. It can be parallel. And also for now, understand that these 3 numbers you have to remember in your life. PMP has 5 process groups, 10 knowledge areas, and 49 processes to proceed towards the examination. Right? I know I spent good time in this sheet. Why I'm spending time in this sheet is very crucial for the candidates to clear the examination. And every other week, I get some candidate clear the examination in my batch, and they keep saying that, hey Sri, I'm following this sheet consistently, and I'm able to understand the PMP clearly well. So I'm going to share the sheet with you, and you will spend some time after the session to just read through what all there in this sheet. It's a one sheet which is a driving factor for you. I will go back to the slides. Okay, back.
See, project management process groups.
Okay, here we are. Okay, so far we have any other questions to be addressed before we proceed on?
No, I'm just trying to find that flow chart in my my book here.
Oh, you opened your new book. Okay. I couldn't remember the page number. You should.
You can't find it right away in the 800 pages.
Stephen is so much energized now to read it right away.
Yeah, I'll have, it'll be some good reading. It should put me right to sleep tonight, I would think. I'm pretty sure this will put me right to sleep.
You're right. Yeah, it makes you sleepy. But if you understand, you will love it, Stephen. I'll tell you, the moment you start liking the project management, you will love to the core. It's such a beautiful subject. Let me go further in. Okay, I believe I was explaining this 6 constraints. 3 are called as a triple constraint, and we have 3 more constraints which talk about budget. And I think it's a mix up here. It's a scope, schedule, and budget. These 3 are called as a triple constraints. And we have 3 more, that is quality and resource and risk factors. These are the constraints generally which put the project in track and out of track. So we have to keep a close watch on this. That's one point. Take to the next one. Let me take this one. Okay, I believe I talked about this, about the project versus operations. Project is what we understood. What is a project? It should be unique in nature and it will be temporary endeavor. Once a project gets completed, that will be handed over to the operations team. I gave an example of a McDonald's new coming out near your location. They put a new place, new McDonald's, and once the project is completed, it will be handed over the operation team. They will continue on, right? That's how it is. If WhatsApp is the first time project came in the market, or Facebook is the first time project came in the market, later they will give it to the operations team to make sure it is available 24/7. Of course, enhancements projects keep on coming. Facebook will add more enhancements every other week. But there is an operation team sitting behind the screen to make sure whenever you click facebook.com, it should be loaded. And that operations will happen consistently. We'll keep a watch on it, right? So operations is an organizational function performing the ongoing execution. Did you notice it? It's an ongoing execution. It is going to be a continuous process. It will not stop 24/7. They watch out, right? That's how it is. Whereas project is a temporary in nature. You take it, do it, close it. So that's about project and operations. I'm sure you're pretty aware of this. I'm just iterating for the exam purpose. Take to the next screen. Let's see something interesting for you. Of course, interesting. And now this is going to be a little more interesting. It talks about life cycle. Now, if you see the screen, you have project life cycle where I'm going to talk a little bit about predictive and adaptive. Okay, there is predictive and adaptive life cycle. What happens here is when a project is 100% clear on the requirement, when it is good to say that, hey, this is what I want and deliver it in this particular time. That's it. And now the team will work consistently from top to the end of the project and they will deliver it on the last day to the client. Where the requirement is 100% clear. The requirement is 100% clear. No need to go ask anybody. Do the work. Can you tell me how many projects will have 100% clarity? Very high or less?
I would say 100% clarity.
Yeah.
I would say none.
That's for sure.
That's where the problem started in the project. There were days where the requirement, they tried to collect 100%. To be honest, it was not a successful output. But there are some projects. If I talk about again the bridge construction, I know that the bridge should have 34 pillars. It should have 6 kilometers or miles of distance. This is very clear. When this is clear, I can start planning other stuff. But not every project will be like a bridge construction, which have clarity. It will have a lot of changes coming up. The customers are dynamic in the market. Yesterday, I thought something to buy. In the morning, when I wake up and browse Amazon.com, I want to buy something else. Customer need is very high. It's very volatile. It's keep on changing. When a changing world, you cannot tell that, hey, tell me 100%, then only I will do the work. It will not work. They will go for an adaptive approach where will tell the customer, guys, give me 20% of your overall project idea. We will start working on this. When we work on this, give next 30% of requirement what you want. And if this is happening, give me another 50% of requirement what you want. We'll start delivering to you in an adaptive way. It keep on going in a round robin. It goes on iterative, incremental approach, right? Let me even put over a little more clear what I do. I will take you to the whiteboard. Is the whiteboard visible?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are stages. What they do here, there are stages in project. When you say something like this, okay. Okay, I will say this is a deliverable. Okay. Now, something like early days of they use predictive. Sorry. Okay, I had to go. Predictive life cycle. In predictive life cycle, they get the requirements, they do the design of it, they do the development, and they test it. That becomes a product, or as a release, or it could be a product. This is very predictive. You know 100% what you want. When you have 100% on you what you want, you don't go and ask. It is 100% clear here. Then you make a design for it. Then you make a dev for it. Development means it can be of execution. It can be of a man work. It's a major part of actual work happening. Then you test it and give to the customer. This was a format followed for so many years. It's also called as waterfall methodology. I'm sure you all are aware of waterfall methodology, right? This is how it goes. And later they found this is not going really well, because when they go and deliver it on the last day, customer says that, hey, you know what? I asked something else and you guys have delivered something totally irrelevant. Now they thought this is not going well. So they came up with an idea. There's something like, I'm going to draw something like this. They follow all these phases. What I'm seeing, a requirement, design, dev, testing, and they review with the customer. And they feel they get some information, and again they start another set of work, and again they review with the customer. They show the prototype to the customer gives some changes, it goes on, again they review, and then they release the product. The product comes out, right? It's a finished product, and this is called as iterative methodology. Iterative. They do iterative way. Then they came with another methodology, which is called as incremental methodology. Have you heard about incremental methodology?
incremental is the same. What's the what's the word you wrote above?
This is iterative. I'm talking about incremental.
So the first one above, you mean like iterating through like iterations of the software, and then the bottom one is the incremental? Okay.
You are right. You are right. What will happen incremental is you will start giving products every increment. If you see here, only on the final day you'll give a product. If you see here, only on the final day you give the product. In an iterative way, here also we'll give only on the final day, but you will start reviewing it. The sense of prototype will be shown to the customer. They'll give some inputs. You start working out. You will change the scope of it slightly here. Here, no change of scope. Once you gave 100%, that will be the one delivered here. You have to wait until that. In iterative, you will work with the customer. You booked for a new home for yourself, and every week you go and visit your home and see is it coming as you want. You keep giving changes. Hey, make a modular kitchen. Make something a new swimming pool for me. Make a good backyard. You start working out, and that changes will keep on happening, and that one day output will come out. Now, in IT, they started using something called as incremental approach. In the incremental approach, instead of waiting till the last day to get the product, you start getting a piece of the product then and there. Eric, what do you call this piece of product?
The release.
Release or MVP. Remember it? Minimum viable product. Right? So they give one more release here to the customer. They then and there give the piece to the customer. So now, what's the beauty here? They started giving to the customer, they know what it is incrementally. Rather giving a one piece in the last day, I can give piece by piece to them. Not every project can be done the same way. Some projects have the facility like this. At least in software industry, they have the facility of giving piece by piece. If you see the Facebook doesn't come as one application on the last day. Last year, you had a different Facebook application. Now they keep on upgrading it. They give one piece, they give another week, another piece, another week, another piece. They keep on giving it. End of day, customer gets what they want. Now, Now what happened is they brought another methodology called as adaptive. Sorry, please forgive me for my bad handwriting.
You should practice on an Etch-a-Sketch.
Yeah, it looked like my daughter writing here. Okay, so now what's happening is in adaptive way, they do the same phases: design, development, testing, and they release the product to the customer. One beautiful thing they do here is the customer will give a change on this product. It will change, telling that, hey, you know what? I like it, but can be changed like this. That change will be adapted the next cycle. Requirement, design, development, testing. Again, they release one other product. Again, here some change will come. And that will become another product going on. Now, what will happen is when it goes like this continuously, you get your product well refined. Then waiting till the last day of deliverable. Now, this iteration is a hybrid methodology. I will repeat from the beginning now. Predictive is where you get the requirement 100%. You design, develop, test, and give to the customer. Customer give the requirement, has to wait till you complete it. They don't have any option to do anything. Whereas when you go to iterative, you will do the same requirement, design, development, testing in phases 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you show a prototype to them. Looking at the prototype, they'll tell that I like, I don't like, and you start working out on the phase. So this is iterative way. Incremental way, you will do the same, this 4 phases, and you start giving outputs in usable form. They'll use it, but there is no option of changing anything there. They will get it, they have to use it, that's it. And now something came in the market which is adaptive. Adaptive means iterative plus incremental. If you combine these two guys, that is called as adaptive, where they do phases and they deliver to the customer. Customer has an option to ask for a change. I know within 2 weeks you gave me something, it's useful. However, can you change little feature on that? We'll say, yes, we will do. That we will do and deliver it again here. This guy looks out, either he can say good or bad. Now, beauty here is, instead of waiting on the last day to get the product and you feel it is useless, right away you do it and right away you make a change and right away you get the right product what they want. Is that little clear? You got little information?
You basically, the adaptive method sums up in a nutshell, I'd say about 75% of my job.
Yeah, very practical. Stephen, did I put the points clear for you?
Yep, my stuff. The projects I do are probably about 90% incremental.
Okay.
And then I do get into a little bit of the adaptive stuff when they start whipping changes at me.
Amazing. I think we are already into change and we are already adapted to the agile mindset. I can see that. That's great.
Because we'll put out a phase one. We'll put out a phase of a piece that has one key piece of functionality that stakeholders say they need no matter what. So we give that to them in the first phase, so that the development team's already laid the foundation from the code base for it to implement phase one. So implementing the next phases and the next iterations are a lot simpler by front loading the work.
Amazing. I got you. I can listen to what you're saying. Yeah, I got you. Great. In fact, since you both are mapping the same line, I will put one other point, why we are moving towards this direction now. And this is the way the world is moving, adaptively. The reason being is, there were days we get the requirement 100% here. Before that, I'll ask a question. How many of the features in your mobile phone you are using? I'll put the question like this. In your mobile, you will have at least 80 features or 45 features. Are you using every feature in your mobile phone, or you're using only limited features?
Limited features.
Yeah, I would say somewhere in between. A little bit more than limited, but definitely not everything.
Not 100%.
Software, yeah.
Absolutely. Now the market study says that if I give a customer 100 features, they are consuming only 55% of the features. Rest all not used. Now what's happening is the company is spending huge money to deliver 100% features, assuming the customer will use it. But the customer using only 55, the rest 45 goes. But the company spend money for that, they put the advertisement for that, and sometimes that also can bring some bugs for the project. Where I'm coming here is, here they give 100% requirement and they deliver it. When they deliver it, the customer is not using fully. Rather, if we go to adaptive way, I will deliver 10 features and feel in the live customer market how they're using it. If customer liking it, I will add another 15 features and see how they're liking it. If welcome is good, I will add another 20 features going on. There is a day the client will tell that, hold on, stop. We are happy with the 10, 25, 45 features, we are happy. Enough. We got 1 million customers. That's our milestone. We reached 1 million customers for this application in mobile app or website or any product. We want a target of 1 million. We achieved it with the 45 features. We may not need all the 100 features. I mean, I will stop rest 55 features to be developed, to be completed, to be discussed. So I'm going to save some money. I will go to another project of a new mobile app, new web page or something new. I'm putting the coding example here IT because IT is more the adaptive way because the customer needs are right away known, customer are more change in the sense of the market. So I'm just quoting this example here because to understand that where the world is driving. The world is driving towards customer oriented thought process where there were days they will give any feature in the product in the market just 100%. They will say they give a car with every feature in the market without knowing what is the customer expectation. Now in the market, they read the customer mind, and if a customer want only 10 features, they'll give only 10. They don't overdo on that. It is saving for them, and also it's good for the customer. And it's also easy to fix the bug or error anything coming up there, rather giving 100 features. And this is a drive happening in Agile, and they use a term called as keep it simple. If you read the Agile principles, one of the principle is use simplicity. They use the word simplicity. It means keep things simple. Don't make it more complicated. Okay, why I explain all these features here is, I'll go back to the slide. By the way, Eric, you read through the principles of Agile before?
Yeah, some of them. Just one comment here. The company that I work for takes a different approach. They still do it a similar way, but every 3 months, they'll have a development retrospective, and they'll actually look at metrics from the web server to see which areas of the software were utilized the most. And then the bottom 10 to 15% of those features that weren't used, they send back to the stakeholders for reevaluation to see if those parts of the software are still necessary. Because if not, then we just keep adding and adding and adding, and the software keeps growing and growing.
You're right. I got your point. Yeah, that's the thing happening. I feel when Stephen said he's also much into the adaptive and incremental approach, I feel they too are adapting on the more on agile factors happening now. Is that right, Stephen?
Yeah, the stuff that we do is more cut and dry. It's not as what Eric's doing is where he's designing software for different companies and different changing and evolving needs. Ours is pretty much boilerplate. We've got set plans, a set project. And, the only thing we run into is, if we run into a problem on the construction site, that's where that's where it's going to change. All of a sudden now I've got
I see that.
I've got an issue on site that we weren't aware of, or the customer wasn't aware of, and all of a sudden we run into this problem. Well, now we have to kind of, that's where we got to drop back, figure out how we're going to fix it, and work around. So that's kind of where the adaptive part comes in.
I agree.
Everything we do is in batch. Well, it's usually groups of 3. We work on the different antenna sectors, and so we're tearing one down. We're doing them one at a time. So that's kind of how my incremental comes in.
Fantastic. I think both of you are touching the core principles PMP is following. I'm pretty sure the exam is going to be approachable and easy for both of you, as I can see the depth of knowledge you have. That's good. That's a good news I have. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. I was playing this slide for some time to give you an understanding of a predictive and adaptive approach. These are the core factors important here. By the way, I'll reiterate again. I may not read every line in the slide. I'm trying to give the concepts to you. Once you understand the concept, when you go through the book once, I will tell you it's going to be a cakewalk. Right? That's a plan I have with you.
Okay.
Okay, fine. We'll keep moving on. Okay, I believe I talked about the 5 process groups. There's 5 you discussed already, and we'll explain more as we get inside. For now, understand there is something called 5 process groups. And these are 10 knowledge areas which I spoke to you. In the 10, can you now help me? Did I put a chat? Okay, sorry. Okay, is it visible now?
Yeah.
Okay, now what I'm going to do, I want Eric and Stephen to help me. What are the triple constraints which we spoke about here? Can you help me? What are the triple constraints out of this 10?
Let's see. Your constraints are going to be project cost management, quality, resource.
No, triple constraint. We'll go with the triple constraints first. One, and I said triple,
Yeah.
three constraints. First three constraints. Cost. Okay, I agree. Then
Scope.
fantastic. Then
On schedule.
amazing. You rocked it. You rocked it. So these three are called triple constraints. Now, Eric, can you help me? Three more constraints are there. What are the three more?
Communications. Risk.
No, not communication. But one is right. Risk, what you said is right. Then
Resource.
perfect. One more.
Can't remember the last one.
Quality.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's I like the way you guys are helping each other. Okay, good. So that's quality. Yeah, you got it. So this is called triple constraint, and three more constraints are there. Okay. As a manager, we are expected to have an eye on all this stuff. Apart from that, there are very important stuff like communication is there, vendor management is there, stakeholder management is there, and finally, integration. This is the one connecting all the dots. Okay. So that's good. Good. I'm happy that you got the message. Let's move to the next one. Okay, this is the same chart which I showed you. I put in the slide so that you can refer anytime. You see the slide. It's the same 49 process sheet. Okay, in PMP book, in book, there is a term called as tailoring. The tailoring is a concept, or it is a new addition in PMP book, saying that you may not need to follow the principles or policy what's said here blindly. You can watch out which will fit in for your project, and you can start tailoring it. It is something you buy a new pants or new shirt, something which is not fitting to you. What do? You go for tailoring. You tailor it to fit in your body. The same way, you look out the framework structure of PMP and see is it fitting for your project. If it is not fitting, you start tailoring it as you need. At the same time, they give a condition that you should first understand the principles clearly. You have to apply it. You have to see the results out of it. If it's still not doing well, then you can go for tailoring. And tailoring is the one beautiful thing I'm seeing in the new version, PMBOK 6th edition. In earlier versions, PMP never thought of tailoring. They'll be slightly rigid on the principles and policies, telling that, hey, you have to follow what we say. Now they understood that the world is moving towards agile. Agile is meant of more alterations. Agile is meant of more customization. Agile is meant of keeping the doors open for changes. So when the world is moving that direction, PMP realized that we should also accept tailoring. So that's the reason they have a tailoring as a concept in the framework. I'm just giving a heads up, as you should know that don't be just what book says. You can look what actually customer needs there. If a customer expects some change, yes, we can adapt it. That's a message. We'll go to the next one. Okay. Now, I have given you in the lesson one heads up about what is all about the process which is being followed. 5 process groups, 10 knowledge areas, and 49 processes. That's about the PMP process. Now, you have to learn as a manager what is the role of the manager. Very important part. And you should know what is the environment of the project. A project will not work on its own. It's not isolated. A project works in the circle or in a group of organizational policies, environmental factors, right? You work in a company, that company has structure, the company has some policies, the company has some environment. You stay in a government sector, around you there is some government policies, right? So we, as a project, it can't happen individually, it should happen along with the organization. So now we will understand those environmental factors which can have influence on the project. We also understand what is the role of the project manager. And we're going to see now. One more. I talked about environment. When you talk about environment of the project, the environment can influence your project. The environment can influence your project. How it can influence your project? It can make your project decision move up and down. What are the factors that can influence a project? Let's understand that. There are two factors. One, a short form called as EEF. What EEF means? Enterprise Environmental Factors. Enterprise environmental factors can be of something outside of your project, but still it can impact your project. And it can be external one or it can be internal one. External could be of government policies, some infrastructures what your company has, and that can have influence on your project, where you can't do anything on that, just you have to follow it. Your building structure of your company says that, hey, only 1,000 resources can be accommodated. Beyond 1,000 resources, we don't have a facility to make them sit in the office. It is one of the EEF, enterprise environmental factors, where you have to work within that. Now, such a situation comes for you, they will ask, do you have any option? As a manager, you will tell that, okay, I understand only 1,000 people can sit here, but my project size is huge. I want 200 people to sit in my office. Then they'll tell that we can't accommodate more resources in this building. Either we have to go for a new building or look at different geographical location where resource can work from different place for you. And now, when you think a project will have such kind of constraints also. It will impact your project. It will change the decision of your project. And this is called enterprise environmental factors, which can directly impact your project. There is something internal. They use internal political condition in your corporate, internal policy changes. Your portfolio manager resigns from the company. When he or she resigns from the company, your company structure will change. Your project will go from you to another manager, or some new resource will come inside. And these are some of the internal factors which can influence your project, which again, you don't have any control. If your portfolio manager resigns, what control you have? You have to just wait and see what policy changes are happening. And that's again enterprise environmental factors, which is going to impact your project. Why this is being explained here? As a manager, you should have a visibility of such things happening above your head. Why? You may think that, okay, a project is given to me, I'm going to deliver it. Why I should worry about these factors? To be honest, yes, you should worry about it. If we don't take enough care of things happening around us, your project will not go in the right direction. If your portfolio manager resigns, a new portfolio manager coming inside, and this manager will make a new strategy for the organization. But you are working in a project which works for a different old strategy. Will you get the resource what we want? You may not. They will tell that, guys, you're working for an old strategy. Please scrap that project. Can be a call. Or could be a better option also. It can be positive and negative. Now, as a manager, you are responsible for the project to move successfully towards the end goal. To move successfully, your visibility should be 360 degree. You have to watch out what is the top management is doing. What is your peer level managers are doing? What are the factors impacting a project? How many resources I have in my company? Are this resource really qualified? Are they efficient enough to run the project? What I think. And this all visibility comes under enterprise environmental factors. If there is a government policy changing on, your management should watch out what policy impact your company, what policy will impact your project. I know this is a bit higher range, but I'll tell you as a manager, we should have visibility. It is one of the important points. Now I will slightly move to the right side. In the right side, I have something called as OPA. OPA means Organizational Process Assets. I'll show the full word abbreviation in the next slides. For now, understand OPA means Organizational Process Assets. What do it mean? You have some of the process, policies, procedures in your organization with which you have to conduct a project. One of the policies says that a new resource joining your company may not be able to participate in the high leadership level meetings until their probation period is getting completed, until they become a permanent employee. We will not allow them to talk in a strategic conference, or this resource cannot access a particular database. When I say database, some sensitive information are stored in this database and we cannot allow them to access it. If there is a policy like that, we have to follow the policy. We cannot say that, no, this is my project. Trust me, the resource is a good resource. I know him from last 10 years. Give him access. They'll say, come on guys, we can't. Policy is a policy. We have to follow it. But considering this also, you should make a project plan, because that could be the only resource in your team. But one thing can be done with OPA is, since it is internal to the company, you have a chance of requesting your PMO or senior management, can you give some exception here? By the way, I want to understand from Stephen and Eric, do we have exceptions in the company whenever we rise in new tickets or new requests? Do we go by exceptions?
I get exceptions occasionally.
Okay, yeah, we do. That exception is nothing but it is something slightly updating the policy. The organization policy says you shouldn't do it, but there is a need, there is a must. You have to do it. Then what to do? We'll go and request our senior management, leadership team, telling them, guys, without this change happening, I'll tell you the project will not complete on time. Then your senior manager will tell that it's okay. As per policy, we shouldn't do, but for this scenario, we'll give an exception. And that falls under OPA, Organization Process Assets. We should have an eye on that. Now we'll come to the more important sector of all this stuff, which is called as knowledge base. Very important. Why it's very important? Knowledge base is nothing but the lessons learned from previous projects. Your company would have done the same kind of project in a previous year, previous month, 10 years back, 5 years back. This all information will be recorded somewhere. The PMO of the company, Project Management Office, will record all this information. And this information is a golden source. If I want to do a new software application, I will not start from the scratch. I will go and look at my records in my company. And the record says that 6 months back, we did a new mobile application. I can just take that information, reuse it, where it will save lots and lots of time. And that database will show me what is the standard we follow to do a mobile application. I'm quoting a mobile application. Let me go back to an oil rig. Your company is very famous. They're very famous internationally. They do oil rig in every part of the world. Now you get a new project. When you get a new project, you will not start from the scratch to say that how to start a oil rig project. No, they directly come to this knowledge base. It's a database. It could be MS Word, it could be Excel sheet, it could be Jira. Somewhere information is getting stored. And this information is a database of a company where you take that information and start looking out how we do oil rig in this particular region. You look at the contract factor, look at the resource factor, you look at the cost factor, you look at the scheduling factor, you look every factor in that lessons learned, and that's going to help you in the project upcoming. Now, these two factors of EEF and OPA, I'll tell you what it is: enterprise environmental factors, organizational process assets. These two are the pillar for your project decision making. Sometimes we may be already following it, but without knowing that it is called as organizational process assets. We would already doing it without knowing that that is called as EEF. Here PMI is giving a name for it. When you go for examination, some question talks about this area, you should know it means it's enterprise environmental factors. So that is a term which you have to learn through. So far things are good here. I will take you to the next slide. By the way, I'll make a quick check here. It is almost 12:45 for you. By the way, you're in Central Time, Stephen?
Yeah.
Okay.
About a break?
Yeah, I'm just looking out how can we take it on the plan, in the sense, what I'll do is I'll cover through the basic subject for the day. I don't want to overload on the first day for you. We will go through this process, and I'll give you a little more information which you can read through a little more on that, so that it can be a continued session for coming days.
Okay.
Right? Because I know after a long time you're sitting for the class, it's going to be a little overloading on the first day. I want people to understand much clearly in depth, so I can spend a good amount of time on a continuous basis. So it's not going to be any restricted time. We'll go very open on time and we'll talk a lot about the subject. Right? So what we'll do is I'll quickly relook at what I'm doing here. I will travel through. I will have a few more slides. Okay. I will stop here when it comes to PMO. And then I will start with talent triangle. This is a which thing I want to explain you. After which it will start talking about the fourth chapter. Now what I'll do is when I come here, I will start and leave a time for you to prepare on the subject. You can read through the content. I will share you the PDF to read the exam outline. You can do some little homework on that. And once again, we'll connect it by tomorrow. That's the time which we discussed. And we will start from there with the more depth of the subject. Is that a good plan for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't want to tax you too much on pushing all the information on the same day.
No, that works. Yeah. Just if you've got a list of material for reading and review, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, me as well.
Yeah, can you repeat it again? You say that if content to read and review is good for you. Is that what you say?
Yeah, if you got a list of or a list of, I know you were going to share one. What was it? A 26-page doc with us.
Yeah.
I think you got a couple docs you're going to share. If you've got a list of materials that you'd like us to read and review,
Right.
I don't have a problem with that.
Perfect. I will take in a phased way so that the subject is got depth into your mind. That's what I'm expecting. Okay, that's a good deal. So we'll go with a couple of more slides and I'll give you a halt here and we'll say, I'll give you details what can be read through and then we'll take it from there.
Okay.
Let me get it back. I'm getting back. Okay, whatever I explained so far, it's being put together here. In the sense of project environment, we have something called organizational process assets. In organizational process assets, you're going to have policy of a company, quality policy of a company, proposal evaluation criteria, some of the communication guidelines are there, and some of the project closure guidelines are there, how to close the project.
how to communicate, how to handle issue and defects in the project, how to handle the change control. These are some of the policies written in your company. It is not only for our project. It is a very common standard written by the organization. And we as a manager has to follow this as per the company norms and terms, right? So that's called as OPA. This is what OPA is. OPA, we learned out, right? OPA means organizational process assets. That's what we are seeing here. And let me take a little more further in. In OPA, we have very important thing which I talked about, knowledge base. The knowledge base talks about historical information. Here is a very key factor which is called historical information. If your company is very much famous or available in the market for a particular project, say it is going to be construction, it could be a software development, it may be pharma, it may be producing a music audio system, these all will have historical record. You will go back and refer the historical record whenever you want your project to be successful. And you have lessons learned. Eric was pointing out we have retrospective in Agile. What it means by retrospective means we look back on the project and we'll see what went well and what can be improved. And that lessons will be recorded here. In PMP also we have Agile blend. What we do, whenever a project moves from one stage to another stage, we record the lessons. We note it down, telling that, you know what, with this particular module, we learned that it doesn't go well. Why it doesn't go well? The resource is not really trained on the technology. That was the lessons learned. So next time such kind of module come in your project, be prepared ahead that the resource should be trained. If not, the project will not go in the right direction. And you also watch out some of the financial database as a lessons learned. I'm iterating here. OPA means organizational process assets, which is going to keep your project in track, and you also keep an eye on this information around you. What I expect from a manager is you should have a 360-degree view. You cannot tell that a project is given to me, I will only focus on that. It may not work. We should be having view on the upper management, peer level, government policy changes, your policy in the company, HR policies. You watch at all this stuff, and there you become excellent managers, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the next level. Okay, I was sometime back talking about PMO. PMO goes by Project Management Office. It could be single resource or multiple resource. And this PMO is an organizational body or entity assigned various responsibilities. They're saying various. And this PMO is the one who will sit in an organization to be a bridge between the program and project management team. Ideally, to help them to standardize the system flow in the project, and there'll be center point of contact whenever there's a need to get the resource or material or any policy related information. As a manager, I cannot run to every corner in the office to understand what's the policy. I have n number of work. I have to meet my client. I have to plan my schedule. I have to put my costs. I have to meet my team. I'm not having time to run and chase to understand what my company policy is. Rather, what I do, I just write an email to the PMO office telling them, hey guys, you know what? I recently signed a new project with Verizon. I signed a project with AT&T. Can you explain me how the telecom projects works? Have you ever done a telecom project? The PMO office will tell that, you know what? We did a telecom project 2 years back, and we did a project with T-Mobile, we did a project with Sprint or something. They'll refer back some documents and they give it to the team. That's called as supportive. The PMO will share the information to the project team and help them to understand what kind of project they're doing. Are they following the policies, and for which they give some guidance. That's called supportive. There's one another model of PMO, where they will start monitoring your project. Are you following the policy and principles? They'll keep an eye on you. If you do a vendor management, some certain principles should be followed. If you cross the norms, they raise a red flag. Hey, you know what? There is a manager here, a team is here, which is not following our company policies. We should need to take some action on that. So they start controlling your flow of the project. By the way, they're doing for the good benefit, but they keep and watch out what you do. There is one more style of PMO, which is called as directive. Here, the PMO office will directly talk to the customer, get the project, and make the team to do it. In an ideal world, only the project manager will handle the project. Only the project manager drives the project. But there are some organizations where the PMO is very powerful. And this PMO will take the project from the customer and make the team to do. And that's called directive approach. That's also there. Did I show PMO where it will sit in the organization structure? I think sometime back I showed where the PMO will sit in the organization structure.
Yeah.
I will go back to make you people understand where. Oh man, what I'm doing? I'm going the wrong direction, man. Come on, Shri, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah. I was saying that a PMO will sit somewhere here. A PMO can sit somewhere here. A PMO can sit somewhere here. And this PMO is a person a manager will approach. Hey PMO, can you give me the detail about the project our company done before? And a PMO can even sit here. A portfolio manager will come and talk to the PMO. So PMO is a person who is a helping person around the structure of the organization. Right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can they also sit at the top and oversee all the portfolios and all the programs, and then?
Can be. You're right. Can be. A person can sit here. Head PMO. Can be a portfolio level discussion. Can also happen. Possible. Possible. So this person generally be an individual resource sitting there to keep an eye on all the stuff happening around. All the stuff. They'll have a full visibility. So that's an interesting role. I see many people completing the PMP certification go for PMO roles also. They're being highly paid for information. Okay, let's move on. Now time to go other side.
I do have a side question, if you don't mind. I've heard the term project management organization. I haven't heard project management office, but are they just interchangeable terms?
Yeah, can be used. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. You're right. But primarily in PMI term, they use PMO, that is project management office. That's how they use it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Now, I think there's a slide, slightly it's flipped up one slide. What I do is I'll explain to you what is project management environment. Now I want to explain the role of the PM and we're going to give a break there. So what I do, I jump here. I want to talk about this slide. It's a very interesting slide. Role of a manager. This is $1 million question. Everybody will come and ask, okay, I'm learning PMP. I know what is project. That's good. But tell me what I have to do. Now, there is a new system or new thing came up in PMBOK 6th edition, the recent book. The recent book, they put something called as 3 components being put over. And these 3 components or competencies talks about a project manager should or must have these 3 ingredients to be called as a manager. What are the 3 ingredients? A manager should know the strategy of the company. The manager should know the business of the company. Only a manager is aware of the strategy of the company, the business, what we are doing for, a manager can take the project in a successful direction. If a leader doesn't know what is the strategy of the organization, there is no path at all. It's going to be the end of the road. I talked to my management team. I asked this managers reporting to me, guys, are you aware that what is our company 2019? They'll be blinking at me. They'll just give a statement saying that company is looking to grow profit. Yes, every company is liking to grow the profit. But what is the strategy of growing the profit? Are you aware of it? I don't
What
know.
value? What value
Sorry.
does the company deliver?
Yeah. When I ask this question, most of the managers goes to panic mode. They'll ask, they'll be blinking at me. Shri, you know what? I don't know what the strategy is. Come on, guys. You should know the strategy of the company. You should know the business value of the company. What for a company is running? If a Pepsi is running, what for the Pepsi organization is running? If Facebook is running, what for the Facebook is running? If there is something on a construction, what for doing that? You should know the strategy of the organization. That is a very, very basics for any manager to shine well. And every organization definitely will have a strategy in their websites or in a portal, or some of your leadership town hall meeting will publicize that information. And that should be aware for the manager. That's a very first information manager should do. After doing that, that is where this is strategy point. And PMI says call this as talent triangle. They call this as a talent triangle. Did I have the word here? I'm not having it. Yeah, here it is. It's called talent triangle. Okay. Now that is strategy. Now you are clever in strategy. You went through the website of a company, you read the strategy, you understood the strategy, all good. Only learning the strategy will not make you a great manager. Now you have to go to the next level, which is called as you should have a technical project management knowledge. You should be technically sound. What do you mean by technically sound? You should know how to allocate the resource, how to plan the costing factors, how to plan the scheduling factors, and some of the software, hardware. Not every company needs a software. If you go to a car service center, they may have a big white board. In the board, they write the number of the car and they write the date and when it will be delivered. That's more than enough. That's one of the technique which I should learn. If I'm in IT, I should know how to use Jira tickets. I should know how to use user stories. I should know how to plan it. These are some of the technical things which a manager should be aware of. It doesn't mean that you have to go to the end level of developer and see what they're doing. No, that's not the ask here. The ask here is you should know how to handle the team. You should know how to implement the knowledge what you gained in project management. You should know some of the software tools also. It's needed. Yeah, it is needed. I agree. But tool is not the only thing will drive you. You should know the background of the tool. Need it, when to use it, how to use it, who to communicate. And that's called technical management. So now you know the strategy of the company, business of the company. Now you know the technical factors of the company. This too will make a great manager. May or may not, until you know what is called as leadership. I'll be very honest here. I have seen people so good in strategy, so good in technology, but they sometimes suffer. Have you guys come across such person?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some are so good in business strategy. Mm-hmm.
I think out of the three, the leadership piece is probably the hardest
Yeah, it's definitely the hardest piece.
because
You
it's like the only skill that you can't learn, while reading. It's just something you have to develop.
practice it. Absolutely. Eric, you made the right point. Just by reading, you will not do it. If you read 2-3 books about swimming, you can't become a great swimmer. You have to jump inside the water and swim for 2-3 days. Then only you know what a swimming is. So leadership is something not just by reading books. You have to practice. You have to fail. You have to bleed in your nose. You'll get hit. You get punched. All will happen. But one thing is, leadership is all about decision time. interacting with the people efficiently, emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, conflict management. These are the terms very common in the world. If you Google it, you'll get a number of documents. You can read for 3-4 days without sleeping. But how do you implement it? You have to implement it with the mindset of strategy and business in your mind. You should know the technical factors, what is needed for the project. And with that, if you implement this, you will be the CEO of the company. Because you know what your company drive is, you know what is need in the market, and you're going to drive your resource to do that. Leadership is about, I'll tell a statement about leadership. Leadership, they give a statement saying that leadership is something like this. A leader is a person who can see something which others cannot see. A leader is a person who can see something which others cannot see. Now, this is expected here. As Eric and Stephen rightly mentioned, it's not such a easy topic, but I practice, I read by showing dedication towards what we do. And this is a talent triangle which I love in PMP. I love in PMP. I have a printout of this in my phone, telling to myself, hey, you are lagging here, you have to improve. You have to improve here. You have to improve here. You are 10% only grown here. You have to grow further. Here you got 30%. You have to grow further. And whenever I go for any strategy, any business level interview, the interview goes question in these 3 areas. They'll ask questions in business level. They ask questions in technical. They'll ask questions in leadership. So if a person understands what is the number of questions they have, I mean, you have to put yourself as 30%, 40%, and rest percent where you want. And you have to see yourself where you stand in this triangle. If you know that, I'll tell you, you will be the topmost in your company, literally. So that's about the talent triangle, which I want you to update on. I will talk a little more. Yeah, I think we covered this and we'll come back again to this again and again. And this is one diagram I'll explain, and we will halt in this area after explaining this. What is happening here? I'll give a heads up. In project integration management, the integration means connecting all the dots. As a manager, you are expected, as a leader, you are expected to connect every dots in the project management. When I say every dot, initiation is the starting stage of the project, closing is final stage of the project. In between, you make a planning. The plan will be executed. When you do the execution, definitely there will be some errors and bugs will come up. That will be called as monitoring and controlling. As a manager, you sit in the center as a conductor in a music orchestra, and you will start playing the tune. The team should do initiation, they should do the planning, you keep a watch on that. How to do, when to do, that's what we are going to learn in the processes. When I say processes, I showed you 49 process sheet. This is a 49 process sheet. In the 49 process sheet, we will do step by step, one by one process here, right? That's what integration management will talk to you, right? Saying that, what we'll do is I'll come back to the slides and give a hint so far what we covered, and then I will help you to give details for the next set of actions. So what I do, I'll go the mouse. Okay, so far what we have did here is we have go away. Yes, go. Okay, so what we did so far is we have spent some time. Okay, we understood each other well today morning, and we have seen the agenda, what we are going to do, and we have covered up to this process groups. We have covered introduction, we covered management framework, we have touched a little bit on environment, OPA, EEF. We also understood the role of the project manager by the talent triangle, and we know process groups. There are 5 process groups, 10 knowledge areas, 49 processes. So far I have set a ground for you, right? The next stage would be of making you to understand knowledge area one by one. When I say knowledge area, we are going to have 10 knowledge areas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And we're going to spend all our time in understanding these 10 knowledge areas. And finally, I've added some extra, which is called as agile concepts. And I'm going to explain you exam approach, how to fill the form, how to go for the exam. This will be explained. Since it's the first day, I don't want to load too much. So what I do, I'll stop here and I'll share some documents. You have to read that. When you come back tomorrow, you'll get a little more clarity. And I will start tomorrow in this area to explain these 2 concepts. And then we'll go for next 2 concepts and again next 2 concepts, and we'll keep adding more, right? This is a plan having. And also we understood the stats about what are the PMP, how much PMP people have completed. We understood the demand in the market. We understood the benefits we gain out of it. And I like the way Eric put over, man, I love this dollars. Yes, me too. And then we went to the introduction. We understood why PMP. Then we understood the basics of examination, right? We got 35 hours, we got degree, we have 4,500 numbers. This is all we understood. Then we went with exam purpose, 4 hours examination, 200 questions. We should get marks, target and above target to clear the examination. Anyhow, I'm going to explain examination clearly later point. And then quickly we jump to some interesting area like a pie chart, where it gives what are the important things of project management, which called as 5 process groups. That's being explained. Then we understood what PMI looks from us. They look as a manager with the 200 people, with a 10 million as a project budget. And interestingly, Eric and Stephen address this question and give a right answer, which is so much impressive. So that happened. Then we understood the plans, and we understood what is a project, and we spent good time here to understand the framework about the portfolio, program, projects, and PMO, right? And we also understood there is something called 14 process, 5 process groups, which is set the path for project management. And interestingly, you both understood there is 6 constraints, triple constraints, 3 items, and 3 more constraints. We understood that. We understood operations and projects, what it's all about. And interestingly, we spent good time on the predictive and adaptive cycle. Yeah, we spent that. It's cleared off. Okay, predictive and adaptive cycle we understood with the diagram. Then we went on understanding the 5 process groups, 10 knowledge areas, and we started traveling further. We also understood something called tailoring, which is customizing on a way what we want, right? After which we jump to something called environment and role of the manager. Environment, we spend good time to understand there is something called EEF OPA, enterprise environmental factors, internal organizational process as such, which makes them to understand within this environment only a project can happen. A project cannot happen isolated way. It will be always happening in an organization with a lot of background work. So we keep a watch on that. And we went through some split up information in that. We also understood something called knowledge base, which is lessons learned from your previous projects, which can be used in a current project for efficiency. And there's an interesting thing. We understood on PM project management office, who plays a crucial role of making people get communicate with each other as needed. And then I was explaining the last slide for you, which talks about role of the PM, where we understood strategy and the business management is very important, technical project management is important, and leadership is very important, right? We did that. And then I was just trying to give a heads up. Integration means it is something connecting all the dots. These are some slides we walked through today. Do we have any open questions? Are we good with so far we have walked through?
I think I'm all good.
Yeah. Any other questions I had asked along the way. So I think once you send the material, any questions that come up, I'll send them to you or address them tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. By the way, Eric, you have a PMBOK book with you?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a PMBOK, any PMP related book with you to read?
No, it'll be here Monday.
Oh, okay. You ordered it. That's good. That's cool. So probably I should get your email IDs so that I can share the books or the PDF. What we'll do, just send me a hi note to this email ID so that I'll try to help you out.
Whoops.
Or you can also ping your email ID. Are you seeing a group chat?
Yes.
Okay. If we can share, cool. That's good. That's good. Okay. Yeah. So what I'll do here is I'm going to share some information. This information will be of one is in the books, and what I'm going to share this PDF, which talks about exam outline. I would request you to just go through this book, PDF for a while, right? This you can do. And I'm going to share this image with you, the 49 process sheet. I'm going to give a little hard task here. What you have to do is, you have to take a white paper, A4 size paper, and write or imitate the same content in the white paper. I'll repeat again. You have to take a white paper and write the process groups and knowledge area. I know it is going to be very hardest task, but I'll tell you the benefits going to be very high, where you're going to clear the examination in the shortest duration. Will that be possible?
What was the question one more time? Well, what people
Okay.
do?
Okay. I'm giving two things can be done for the day. One is I'm going to share the PDF which explains the exam outline.
Okay.
Just read through that to understand what they're asking for. That's one task.
Okay.
Task number two, this image will be shared to your email ID. I would expect, take a white paper and just write this in the white paper.
Okay.
I know it's a very hard task, but it's going to give a higher benefit.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah, it should be fine. Why I give this, I'll tell you. When I prepared for the examination, every day morning, the first task will be, I'll take a white sheet and start writing from all the information. I'll write the knowledge areas, I will write the process groups, and then I'll start writing what is inside the boxes. First 5 days, I don't even understand what I'm writing. 6th day on, I started seeing some mapping in my brain when I started writing it down. After I read the book and after listening to the trainer, 8th and 9th day, I started seeing some connectivity. And that helped me to clear the exam faster. So kindly take a paper and write it as for today. So tomorrow when we come, we can share it as an image or a photo, how you written in the white paper. Sounds good?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. That's great. So did I got both of your email ID? Oh yeah, I got it. Both are in Gmail. So if that's the case, I have a couple of more digital books with me. So maybe I can share that for you. If you heard about Head First PMP, have you heard about this book?
I think I know when I was looking on Amazon, there was several different books, several different PMP books.
Okay. Okay.
Everybody talked about the PM back.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there was probably 10 or 15 different books on there regarding PMP.
Okay. No need to get worried. I've pinged you 2 book names here. These are the current books which is in the market, which is straight away explaining how to process towards the examination. It's the best book in the market.
out of which Rita is one of the best books of PMP, right? I have a good version of PDF in my Gmail. I'm going to share that to both of you in a drive, G drive. Will that be good?
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to share these books. So both are fantastic books. I think Rita is a bit expensive book, but we have a copy of it. I will share with you. And today's task would be of one is you're going to read this PDF, which is being shared to you. And two is you're going to write in a white paper, the 49 process sheet, and download these two books and take any one book and start looking at what it is. That should be sufficient for day one.
All right.
All right.
Okay, does it look like a good plan?
Sounds like a great plan.
This is good to me.
Good, that's great. That's great. We are in the PMP path. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's a first day in the sense of learning process. I just want to take a feedback. How was the learning went on? Is there anything to be added? Anything more expected? Just want to listen from Eric and Stephen.
No, I think everything was good. It'll be nice once we've got the actual electronic copies that we can print and review. That'll certainly help. That'll help drive home the what we learned today. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Perfect. Okay. Is the speed of going in the class, is it good to follow for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having no problem with that. It's good for me.
Yeah, it's a good pace.
Okay. My speed will go a little higher as we go deep inside the subject. In a sense, I'm setting the ground for you, so I would take little time to explain it step by step. Once we get the rhythm of it, I can increase the speed so you feel it's going well for you as well. Fine?
Okay, great.
Okay, sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, amazing. I'm so excited to have a session with you, Stephen and Eric. The reason being is you were able to connect well with the project management. I don't feel the pain of explaining from the scratch. I can feel the good experience from you is coming right away. Only thing you have to connect is what PMI says. That's it. If you connect to what PMI says, you are ready for exam even tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the message I'm getting out of you. Really good. So I'll take this email IDs. I'm going to have it with me. This is Eric and it. This is with Eric. Sorry, put it here. Eric and yeah. Okay. Have a great Saturday and have a lot of fun. At the same time, spend some time with the books I'm going to share with you. And we will connect again by tomorrow Central Time. Is that good for you?
What time?
Okay. Today, what is the time we joined is 9 a.m. Is this time good for both of you?
Yeah, it works for me.
I'm on Eastern time, so it works for me too.
Okay. Or do you feel something to be pre-ponned, something to be a little bit early also, 30 minutes early? How do you feel?
I was good with the time that we started today.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds
It
good.
works for me. I'm West Coast, so it works for me.
Fantastic. Okay. Now, how is on your work days, Monday to Friday? How you planned on the days? You're packed up, fully tight?
I pretty much work out of my house, so I mean, I can just about do anything. I just sit with my phone next to me. As long as I got my phone, I'm working. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the same situation. I'm 100% remote, so my schedule, I kind of dictate my own schedule.
Yep.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Now, what I'm thinking on is, in the sense, I know subject is going well, and you both are cooperating really well. I'm thinking couple of days in the work days we can do after evening. In the sense, after your work is done, you're done with your day of work. By your evening 6 or 7, you can connect for a couple of hours. You can cover a little more if you are comfortable.
Yeah, I'd have no problem with that. Every little bit's going to help.
Yeah, definitely. As long as as long as it just doesn't interfere with any meetings that I have, I'm fairly open.
Great, great. I want to see you both completing certificate as soon as possible. So what I'm thinking is, yeah, I can even spare a couple of days in the evening hours. That is of course, you complete your work by evening 6, 7 o'clock, I believe. After that, we'll sit for a couple of hours and cover some subject. Yeah, that can be done. So if that's going to happen, what I'll do is I will send it a mail in advance to your mail IDs, and we will conclude a time and date which is comfortable for all of us.
Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds real good.
Yeah, I like that.
Perfect, perfect, great. Amazing. I'm really delighted to be with you, and I enjoyed sharing knowledge. We will do more consistently and get the certificate. Deal done?
Great.
Amazing.
Very good.
Oh, amazing. Okay, have a great day. We'll get up, charge up again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. We'll see you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks for
Yeah,
everything.
sure. Bye-bye.
All right.